All right, we are live. Oh, not yet. Okay, I think that we're live. Cool. Never done a Twitch stream before. Let's see how it goes. Howdy, howdy, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good day. Hello, if you're coming from Twitch, hello. I just want to make sure everything's live. We do have a guest, and I'll bring them up in just a moment. I want to make sure that everything is as it should be. Oh, I should be scrolled down there, and we should be good to go. Let's talk to Jeffrey. Jeffrey Soros, haven't we spoken before?
No, right. First time.
Haven't we spoken before, Jeffrey?
No.
I think you're lying to me, Jeffrey.
Can we have a civil discussion, please?
Only if you promise that you're not lying to me.
No, I'm not lying, sir.
The worst part is that by promising that he was not lying to me, he lied to me. We've definitely spoken before. He's a troll. But we'll give it a few minutes. We'll get some people in a moment. Is this Grover from Sesame Street? May as well have been, right? All right. First time catching me early. Well, welcome. Welcome, welcome. I need to... For those who have been here for a very long time, you would be familiar with the monofocal cleansing. The cleaning, the monofocals. And here's the thing. They need to be cleaned. Which means that we return to tradition. And now I can't see. Isn't this... Do I look like a cartoon character when I'm like squinting so I can try to see? I feel like I'm Velma. All right, we're good. We are good. Twitch is about 3 seconds ahead of YouTube. Yeah, it tends to be that way. Different platforms have different delays. It means no worries for the rest of your... Damn, that rhymed. You know, the reason why my eyes are so bad is probably because I don't go outside at all. I mean, I do go outside, but like less than you're supposed to, and I definitely didn't like going outside when I was a kid. And apparently, the cause of the increase in what's it called? Myopia amongst people today compared to say 100 years ago is that it doesn't have anything to do with screen time, apparently. It doesn't have anything to do with screen time. What it has to do with is the lack of time spent outside. It doesn't even have anything to do with how much time you spend looking out into the distance, right? It has to do with the light that you receive from the sun actually triggers a hormone when you're a young person that instructs your eyes to stop growing long ways. And if you don't get outside enough, that you won't get enough of that hormone, which means that your eyes will just keep growing and you'll end up myopic. Myopic? That's the mechanism here. Now, it turns out if you spend all day inside looking at screens, you're not going to be spending time outside, so you will end up more myopic. But the connection is correlative, right? All right, let's bring up a guest. Rello,
Hello?
how's it going?
Hey, can you hear me? Do I need to join off my other phone?
I can hear you just fine, Rello.
All right, what's up, bro? So you believe that the Earth is around certain...
Sorry, you cut out there for a second. One more time.
I said you believe the Earth is a circle round.
I believe that the Earth is a sphere, or spherically shaped, yeah.
You're wrong, buddy.
Why do you say that?
Because there is a study done in 2019 by NASA.
There's a study done in 2019 by NASA. Your mic is a little muffled, by the way.
They proved that the Earth was flat.
Okay, what's the study?
The study, I don't remember exactly the study, but I can, if you just look up NASA 2019 flat Earth study, you should see it.
All right, let's look it up.
Now, I'm going to tell you, because when I went skydiving...
Hold on, just before we change topics, I just want to show you what I'm doing. So, I just typed into the Google, NASA 2019 flat Earth study. So is there a particular thing? I just want you to tell me what's the thing that I should be looking for.
Let me tell you.
I mean, I looked it up. Which one is it?
But I don't remember exactly. This was in 2019.
You told me to look it up. I'm trying to look it up. I find one from 2025 that says, how do we know the Earth isn't flat?
Listen to me. I told you that I looked at a study in 2019. I didn't say that.
Oh, so what's the study from?
The study was from NASA.
No, when? Sorry.
You said when?
Yeah.
It was in 2019, May 26th. I looked at it.
No, not when you looked at it. When is it from?
What you mean? When is it from?
What year was it published?
I just told you 2019.
You said that that's when you looked it up, not when you saw it. Or
no,
not when it was published.
That's when I saw it. That's when I saw it.
Okay, when was it published?
It was published that same year.
Oh, okay. So why can't I find it?
I don't know, bro.
Oh, that's a bummer. You got anything better than just a study that doesn't exist?
I literally went out and I saw the flat Earth for myself. You can't.
What, you went up 5,000 miles and you saw the ice wall and the edges of the Earth?
No, I went up. I went literally skydiving, and I saw the other side of the planet.
You saw the other side of the planet. Oh, it's a planet.
Yes.
Wait, so is it like what's behind me up here, like this? There's two different screens.
No, it wasn't exactly.
So there's there's like the flat top, and then there's the planet at the bottom.
I saw the edge. I saw the ice wall on the outer circle. It wasn't like that with the what the other people be talking about. Because if it was a round ball...
Rello, is it fun to pretend to be stupid, or is it just like something that you make yourself do just as a hobby?
Why are you making personal attacks at me?
Because I don't think you're a flat earther.
That hurt my feelings, bro.
I'm sure it did. I don't think that you're a flat earther.
I am a flat earther.
Listen,
I'm not a flat earther because ain't no reason I should be associated with that because I'm what was right. I know that the Earth is...
Okay, we'll move on then. The thing is flat earthers don't believe in the other side. They don't think that there's another side of the flat Earth. They don't think that there's a bottom that you can go to and see. And that was the trigger. That's how I knew that he wasn't a flat earther. All right, we do have a super chat from Tim Davidson. Outside? No. There's people out there. That's how I feel. Why would I go outside when I could stay indoors? Indoors. The OGs will know. Oh, I need to activate the TikTok chat as well. Good. All right, let's bring up Zeno.
Yo, Blitz. Are you taking physics? Good. Are you taking physics questions or?
Nope, not today. It's Tuesday and Wednesday.
Okay, sorry about that.
You're good.
I'm not a flat earther. Take
care. Good luck. All right, let's talk to Scrotumus Prime, which is a very funny name, but I have a feeling it's probably a troll. But Scrotumus, how's it going?
Hey, I have a wait. I can't see the screen anymore.
Well, sometimes TikTok is glitchy. Scrotumus, what shape do you think the Earth is?
No, I'm not actually a flat earther. I think it's an oblate spheroid.
Okay, well, it does say think it's not. Join the live. Opposition only.
No,
flat Earth,
I thought you did God debates.
Not on Mondays.
What days do you? I saw you doing those the other day. I was going to cook you on that.
You will know that I'm doing a God debate when the background says something about God, right?
What days are those?
You can go find my schedule on my Discord. I do those on Fridays, Sundays, and sometimes Thursdays. All right, let's talk to Kravis Roberts. Like, people can't read. The education
Hi.
system has failed us. Kravitz, how's it going?
Good, you, sir.
Oh, this is a real voice. Kravitz, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I think it's flat, right?
Okay. And Kravitz, why do you think things fall?
What do you mean?
Why do you think things fall?
Like raining, right? Like rain.
Just things in general.
Because there's a firmament above, right?
Kravitz, how old are you?
82, sir.
Okay. I mean, it's obviously a fake voice. All right, let's talk to Mohammed.
Hey, Blitz, what's up?
Mohammed, how's it going?
It's Sarah. Remember
I
me?
don't know who that is. No.
From Ian? We talked about the giants and in Egypt, the Nephilim. They built the pyramids.
Sorry.
You don't remember?
No.
Okay. That's fine. I am a flat earther. I will talk to you about flat earth today. I'll give you proof.
Flat?
Well, I'm actually going to have a picture that proves it. I mean, I'm going to turn the green screen.
I can't show your picture because you are currently streaming on in 4 different places. So
Okay.
I won't be able to give you the big screen.
Okay.
If there's like a picture that you want me to pull up, I can definitely pull it up for you. So if there's a specific thing that you want me to Google and find the picture, we can find it together.
I'm just pulling. So what this is a time and date chart for the 11th of July, 2024.
Okay. One sec, I'll pull it up. July 11, 2024. Okay, I actually know what I know what you're talking about, so I can find it for you. And you are on the we want July 11th.
Yeah, at 11:24 p.m.
And there's a particular map that we want, right? We want the daylight map.
I don't know what the website's called.
Yeah, no. I'm surprised that you don't. Here it is. Here we go.
The overview,
this, right?
Yes, but that's it's not the correct date.
Yeah, we can change the date. Don't worry. We want July.
Nope. Yeah.
11th, 2024.
At 11:24 p.m.
At 11. Okay, you want 11:24 p.m.
Yes.
Okay. That's 11:24 p.m. I think you mean
yes.
a.m.
It might be a.m.
It is a.m. I know exactly what you're referring to.
It might be p.m.
But here
for
you go.
Australia.
You want this, right?
That doesn't look right. Yeah.
Because you want to say that 99% of the population or something like this is in daylight, right?
The point I'm making is that on this day, at this time, North America and Australia are covered in complete full daylight, which isn't possible on a globe because they are on opposite sides of the.
So you do want 11:24. Okay, we can change this. No, that doesn't.
Yeah,
follow.
There you go.
So you know what the time difference is between, say, California and Sydney, Australia, right?
I don't know it by heart. No.
It's like 7 hours. So if it's say in July, so if it's say, I don't know, 6 p.m. in California, it'll be 11 a.m. in Australia, and both of those times are daylight, right?
Well, what I'm specifically talking about is a light source fully illuminating two opposite sides of the globe.
They're not on opposite sides of the globe. That's the point.
North America and Australia are on opposite sides.
The opposite. So if you're in Los Angeles, the opposite location is like they're just not. If you're in like California, the opposite of the globe is like in the Indian Ocean, which would be somewhere like here-ish.
I understand they're not directly on opposite sides, but if it was a heliocentric model, the sun should only be illuminating either the side that North America or Australia is on.
They're not on opposite sides. Why would that ever be true? It could be like evening for California, and it could be morning.
This is why I really wanted you to
Australia.
expand my. This is why I really wanted you to expand my screen, because if you could actually show everyone
your screen. I'm showing everyone right now. I'm showing everyone the graph.
But I want people to be able to see how.
Hold on,
flat Earth.
I hate to be this guy, but people are saying that you have white supremacist bio. Is that true?
I wouldn't. No, it's not a white supremacist. It's scripture. But can we please stop looking at the chat? Okay, I really want to talk to you about flat Earth. I didn't even know. It does say that God's prophets are white, but that's based off of multiple verses.
That seems a little racist.
No, I just think that we are the chosen people, chosen to bring the light of God.
If Jesus' color didn't matter, you wouldn't mind if I said he was white.
Yes.
You seem really obsessed with white, with like white people.
Yeah, well, I think we're the chosen people. But
it's kind of a weird thing to say,
if
don't you think?
If you kick me for that, you're honestly a baby.
I mean, like, isn't that kind of a weird thing to say?
I call it whatever you want. I believe it to be 100% true.
Okay, so like, do you think that it would be okay if I thought that like white people were like literally human scum? Like, would that be okay?
Billions of people believe that anyway.
Well, no, but like, would you think that that's okay?
Obviously not.
Okay, so then why is it okay to think that white people are the chosen people, but not okay to think that white people are, you know, the opposite of that?
Wait, don't Jewish people believe they're the chosen?
Well, to be clear, kind of, but that doesn't, like, we're not talking about what Jewish people think, right? Like, you can think that it's wrong for Jewish people to think that they're chosen.
Sir, I thought we were talking about flat Earth.
Well, we were, but then people were like, "Oh, he's a white supremacist," and that seems bad, and I'd rather not talk to Nazis. So, like, unless you want to clarify your position here and be like, "Oh, well, you don't actually think that white people are superior," then like,
I'm not a Nazi, sir.
Okay, do you think that white people are inherently superior to people of color?
No.
Okay. Do you think that white people are genetically superior to people of color?
No, we're all equal, man.
Okay.
We're all of us, yeah. So can you actually expand my screen, please?
No, I can't. We've been over this.
What's gonna happen if you do it?
You are on multiple platforms, and I can't display your screen to all of them.
Are you scared?
No, it just doesn't work technologically.
Okay.
Your screen will only be visible to people watching on TikTok, and there are three other places people are currently watching.
What I want everyone who is watching this, you know,
like if there's an image you want me to pull up, I'm happy to pull it up.
All I'm saying is put your phone or whatever device you have and really look at the bottom left image. That is the small.
Is there a particular image that you want me to pull up? Because I can pull it up.
It would be this image, but I don't know. I found it on some random Telegram group. So
is that where you get your information from, by the way? Like random Telegram groups?
Not all of it. No.
Just checking.
Do you get your information from NASA?
Some of it, not all of it.
Could I ask you a question?
You sure can.
What do you think about the Challenger explosion in 1986?
I don't know a lot about it.
Well, I know something that most people don't about it.
What do you know about it? Tell me.
All of the astronauts were found decades later alive. Over half of them with the same exact last name.
That's been
the others claim to be their identical twin brother. What are the odds?
So that's been debunked, but that's cool. Does that have to do with the shape of the Earth? By the way, and I just want to show you something, just so then we can be super clear. So this is an antipodal point finder on a globe, right? So if you were in New York City, the exact opposite would be hundreds of miles off the coast of Australia. If you were in, say, let's put you in Los Angeles, the exact opposite would be off the coast of Madagascar. So the opposite point of North America would be here in the middle of the ocean. So because Australia and North America are not opposites, that means that both sides can be illuminated simultaneously. One would be in the evening and the other one would be in the morning. Do you understand?
Can you go back to the date and time chart?
Yeah.
So you understand it's not just about New York or California or wherever you're from, the whole continent.
We can pick any place in that continent and you will find that it is, okay, what place do you want to pick?
I don't have a specific place in particular. All I'm saying is the entire continent will be illuminated.
Yeah. And
yes, and
the opposite point of the entire continent is not in Australia.
Right. What I really want people to see is if you look at my screen, I know it's hard to see.
Why don't we pick Perth?
Okay, all right, if you look at my screen, I don't know where it is.
It's in Australia.
On our model,
southwest corner of Australia. So if you stick your head in, if you drilled all the way through the Earth in Perth, you would end up off the east coast of North America. So
they are essentially
opposite. No. Yeah, this is hundreds of miles, right?
Sure, but they are almost pretty much on the same opposite side. North America and Australia.
So in order to have it be impossible for them to both be illuminated at the same time, you would need to have every point on one be inside the other, right? Every point, or the opposite of every point in, say, North America, be inside Australia.
Okay. Well, what this is showing is
that, right? So even if exactly 12 hours difference, like, you know, I don't want to say 12 hours difference because that's not how time zones work, but the equivalent of a 12-hour time zone difference exactly for the westernmost city in Australia would be off the east coast of North America. North America isn't far enough east so that it's opposite of Australia.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
So you're failing to understand is
Let me
what I'm
ask you
getting
this.
at, which is not surprising.
On the heliocentric model, the Earth should be half of the Earth should be covered in sunlight at any given time. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay. So the sun should be illuminating the hemispheres that North America and Australia are on. Either one.
It can illuminate both if it's
How?
not illuminating the other half. In fact, interestingly enough, this map here, this is a projection of a globe.
Okay.
So this is showing how it would work. If the sun was just over Hawaii, or just west of Hawaii rather, in July, on July 11th, then you would find that it's just barely, like the sun is just rising in Australia, and it's getting to be evening in the East Coast.
Okay.
So this is how it works. This is how it would work, actually.
Can you at least admit that it makes more sense in our model?
Well, I don't think it does.
Are you actually looking at my image? Look, in the bottom left.
It's very, very small. It's hard to see.
Yes, but you can see that little tiny dot. That's the sun illuminating both North America and Australia at the same time. It's in the ocean that is between those two.
Yeah,
and
sure.
So that's why we say
I don't know what we're looking at.
The bottom left image.
Now, I want to check something else. So this is July 11th. Let's go 6 months later. Let's go to January 11th, right? And we'll go, let's look at that. So here, and sorry, let's change this to 11 a.m., 12 hours earlier. So here we have all of North America and Australia in darkness. How is that going to work on the flat Earth?
Well, it would be the opposite, right? It's 6 months before.
Yeah, so where's the sun?
The sun would be illuminating Asia, Africa, and South America, and it would be on the opposite side of where it is right now.
The trouble here is that I don't know how you're illuminating South America and Madagascar, for example, in January.
Why is that an issue?
Because they're too far apart on a flat Earth. Let me show you. Let me pull something up.
You said Madagascar?
Yeah.
What is this?
This sorry, this is just a this is just a document that I wrote up. It just has a bunch of links in it.
Do you have flat Earth arguments on it?
Yeah. Okay. So see how South America and Madagascar are basically opposite each other. They're not exactly opposite each other, but see how they're basically opposite each other. Alternatively, we can go look at another time if you want. We can go look at 1 sec. Let me change this to like 8 a.m. Sorry, let's make it 7 a.m. Oh, that's the wrong direction. We want 10 a.m. How is it that do we agree that on this map now South America and Australia are both in daytime?
Half of it looks like it, yeah.
Well, I mean, so until you get to the dark, it's like twilight, right?
Yeah.
How are you getting that when they're on literally opposite sides of the Earth?
The sun would have to be closer to the North Pole.
So then, wait a minute. If that were true, why is it nighttime in Japan and nighttime in North America? If it's closer to the North Pole.
Where's Japan again? And what else?
So Japan is right about here, and North America is right about here. So look at North America, right? On this chart, North America, like the middle of North America, is in complete darkness. And yet, if the sun were somehow close to the North Pole to illuminate both Australia and South America, why wouldn't North America be illuminated?
Can you go back to the time and date chart?
Yep.
Okay.
So we have the western coast of Australia and the eastern coast of South America are illuminated. So that would be here and here. How are these two places both illuminated, but North America's in darkness?
Well, there's got to be multiple suns in it.
You think that there are multiple suns?
We've seen them. We've seen multiple different. We've seen more than one sun before. We have a
this
name
is
for
what
it.
you have to believe in order to be a flat earther. You have to believe that there's more than one sun.
We have a name for it. It's been observed.
Okay, what's it called?
I just forgot it. I swear it exists though.
Yep.
Look it
okay,
up.
so to be a flat earther, there has to be more than one sun. Why don't we ever see it? Why can't I look outside the window and see the second sun right now?
It's hiding.
Really? It's hiding?
Maybe it can go through the firmament, and it comes out of the firmament when it needs to, like for eclipses. Because that's an objection that you guys make to eclipses. We can't explain them. We can if we have another luminary body that's above the Earth.
This is what we get when your brain is on white supremacy, everybody. It's really a bummer.
Look up the name for it.
Look up the name for the second sun? You mean frickin' the second son of Tatooine, or what are we doing here?
I don't know. Go back. Can you just go back to the time and date chart? I'm going to try to explain it again.
Yep, we're back to the time and date chart. Here we are.
Yeah. What is your objection again? Just I'm trying to fully internalize.
How is it that Australia and South America are both within daytime, and yet somehow, and actually, by the way, we could go to a different time of year, and we could get them even more illuminated if you want. But somehow, North America is in complete darkness.
Hmm.
And again, here's the flat Earth map.
Yeah.
Where's the sun in this picture to make that work?
On the time and date chart, is South America partially illuminated? Yeah. Okay.
Well, I mean, like it is daytime for everybody. These people over here will be in that'll be sunrise.
Okay, so it's the sun would have to be closer to South America,
by the way,
Africa.
Just as a third point, the sun is directly over South Africa. That's what the time and date chart is indicating. That's where the sun is.
And it's illuminating part of Australia.
So the sun is over here. And
okay.
And this half of Australia, actually, really all of Australia is in daytime. It's just like that tiny little edge that's not. All of Australia is in daytime. And
have you seen
all of South America is in daytime, and yet somehow,
yeah, I get what
Japan
you're saying.
Is not.
Yeah, I understand. So I don't know if you know the term for it, but it's where light stretches around the Earth. Like I know there's a name for it. Do you know Austin Whitsett?
Magic? Yeah, it's called magic.
No, it has a real like scientific term for it, where light stretches across a circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, magic.
It's not called magic, dude. It's called.
Well, it is, because there's no physical mechanism to cause caustics, which is probably what you're referring to.
Oh yeah, the caustic.
So what's the mechanism that causes the caustics here?
The firmament, the material it's made out of.
If that were true, then somebody who has this, somebody who is, sorry. Somebody who's in the west coast of Australia or the east coast of South America, they would see the sun coming from the south. They would see the sun coming from the south, regardless of which one you're in, because in order for a caustic to make sense of the firmament, do you want to check? Do you want to check?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, let's go check. So we're gonna go into the date and time, and to be clear, it should be coming from like almost due south, not like west. Right, which is where it's going to be. But let's just check. Okay, so we want to go to.
Can I just say something quick to the chat?
You can, but you shouldn't.
I'm going to.
Time and date, sunrise.
It's not, guys. It's not magic. It's called a coffee cup caustic.
January 11, 2024. Okay.
It's not magic. It's called a coffee cup caustic. I knew there was.
It is magic, but that's fine.
Coffee cup caustic is magic. You mean you told me about it?
So. Here we have sunrise, January 11th, coming from the east-southeast. So this is at an angle of... No, not south. This is 117 degrees east-southeast. So if we look on this chart, 117 east-southeast from Perth would be in a direction that points this way.
You know that on the flat Earth, compasses and cardinal directions work differently?
Yes, I do. I'm familiar with how compasses work on the Gleason model. So east-southeast is this direction. Not this direction, which is where the sun would appear to be if it was a result of caustics. Yeah, you want to look at South America as well?
No, I mean the directions, because I was
what directions?
Like, which one is?
Sunrise is at east southeast, 117 degrees.
It would be in South Africa, right?
I'm sorry. We should be looking at sunset, not sunrise in Australia. We should be looking at sunrise in South America and sunset in Australia. So
are you backtracking?
No. I just got the direction wrong. So here we have the on the 11th, we should have that sunset is 243 degrees west southwest. So the sun in this case is rising or is setting this direction, not this direction.
Okay, but what if the sun
is in the wrong direction? If this was a caustic.
Okay, but what if the sun it's in South Africa, right? But it's moving towards the direction of South America. And then that's why that's why people in Australia would see sunset at that time.
Why would the sunset be in this direction? Why would they have to look this way to see the sunset when the sun is over here? You
said it's I don't know. I don't think that's true.
That's what Date and Time says. It says it's 243 degrees west southwest.
West southwest.
Yeah. Okay. That means it's mostly west, a little bit south, and then even more west.
But South Africa would be southwest, right?
No, South America is like on this map. It would be like northwest.
Yeah. So there you go.
It'd be like northish.
Yes, that's where South Africa is.
West. South Africa is not north of Perth.
It's the direction the direction you're pointing with your cursor.
Yeah, that's the direction that the sun is, but the sunset is happening in this direction.
No, but what I'm saying is, what if the coffee cup caustic effect? The sun is moving towards South America, and that's why the sunlight is receding for people in Australia because it's moving to the left from South Africa to South America. That's possible, right? You can at least admit that's possible.
No, the sun goes the other way, right?
I don't know. It depends on the time of the year, right?
Which way does the sun go on your map? This is your map.
We don't have a definitive model. We've never had a definitive model. So it would depend on, we'd have to confirm with other times of the year which direction the sun would be going for that day.
Wait, you think that the sun changes directions at different times of the day or at different times of the year?
No, I didn't know. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we have to cross-reference different parts of the year to determine which direction.
Okay, which way do you think the sun moves in like the real world? Like, so right now, this is 10:24 in the morning on January 11th. It's over South Africa. If we move to 11, which direction do you think it goes in?
I'll be honest, I don't know.
That's rough. Okay. It moves to the west, right?
Right. So it moves towards South America. It moves towards South America.
Yeah, which is not the direction that it's.
It is, but because you're talking about people
if the sun was moving towards South America, right? That would mean that it's moving over here.
Yes.
But the sunset is in this direction.
No, but what we're saying is that it's the coffee cup caustic effect.
The coffee cup caustic wouldn't make it appear like it's in this direction. The coffee cup caustic would make it appear in the due south. That's how coffee cup caustics work. By the way, also, just so you know, if this was a coffee cup caustic, the sun would be smeared out across the entire sky horizontally.
We've seen that before. I'm not saying that's what
sunset in Australia looks like.
I'm not saying that's what will be observed on that day or time, but that is a real effect we've seen the sun do. We've seen the sun's light
with a solar filter.
I don't know.
No, you haven't.
But dude, you saw it, right? You saw the sun moving towards South America from South Africa.
That's how the sun moves. That wouldn't make you see the sunset in the west. You would see it in the south still. That's the direction you would see the coffee cup caustic.
If the sun was in South Africa.
So if you're seeing a coffee cup caustic, what you're seeing is going to always be the brightest spot will always be the spot that's closest to you on the reflecting surface, right? Which is what the firmament is. So that should be due south.
Okay, and but you understand that south on our model is anything pointing away from the North Pole.
Yes, and so that would be due south from Perth, which would be like here. You should be seeing it due south, not like mostly west.
But technically, And
it also would be smeared across like the entire sky. Just the
brightest part would be the part that's closest to you. On our model, Australia and South Africa look like they're on the same what is it, latitude or longitude, or the same tropic, right? They look like they're on the same tropic.
That's true on the globe too, by the way.
So, but what I'm saying is, if you were to move from,
I thought you didn't have a model.
Well, this is technically a model, but there's nothing for us to say that this is the definitive model.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, if you were in Australia, you could keep going south. You wouldn't have to go north, and you could keep going south, and you would eventually get to South Africa, and then
wait, not on your model.
No, yeah, on our model, because if they're in the same tropic,
and then you can't on your model, you can't go south and then end up in South America.
No, but south and then east or west is what I mean. So not just straight south, but away from the north.
You could go east or west on your model without going south and end up in South America as well. You don't have to go south to do that.
True, but you know what I mean, right? I just don't think that this is conclusive enough to say.
So we have this map up. Why don't we? So there's something else that I should bring up that maybe you should think about. Okay, so see how here we have like New York's around here, right?
Yeah.
And Tokyo is around here. It's a little bit hard to see, but I can zoom in. You can see it. You can see it a little bit zoomed in. There's Japan, or there's China, and so Japan will be around here, right? So you could, in principle, fly from New York to Tokyo direct, right? It'd just go from here to here, straight line.
Mm-hmm.
What about if you were flying from Santiago, Chile? Sorry, I want to zoom out a little bit. Oops, that's too much. What if you were flying from Santiago, Chile, which is here-ish, to Sydney, Australia, which is over here? Oh, where'd he go? From Santiago, Chile to Sydney, Australia. Oh.
I just watched a video on this.
Where'd he go?
So
why can't I see your thing? That's weird.
Can you see me?
Yeah, but it's just your icon disappeared. I can hear you, but I think it's on my end. Don't worry about it. So yeah. So what's the explanation for? So do you think that you could fly from Santiago to Sydney, direct?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that if
compared to the length of time from New York to Tokyo, how long do you think it would take to fly from Santiago to Sydney?
I'd say if the pilot was maximizing speed and wind, it could take like 15 hours.
Okay, but how long do you think it would take to fly from JFK to Tokyo?
Again, if a pilot was fully maximizing speed, like 8 hours, 8 or 10 hours.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Well, I actually just watched a video about the Johannesburg, Sydney, Australia, South America flight routes by Eric Dubé. And he brought up several flight paths that actually make more sense on flat Earth than on a globe Earth.
Right. So I'm asking about these. So why do you think that you could fly from JFK in New York to Tokyo in 8 to 10 hours?
Well, if we put a shit ton of fuel on a plane, and then we had a good pilot who knew exactly what he was doing, and he maximized for wind, acceleration, speed, I definitely think that they could do that trip in one go.
They can do it in one go. Why do you think it would take 8 to 10 hours? Where'd you get that number from?
I just think I remember seeing that it takes, because I live on the East Coast in America, and it takes like 8 to 10 hours to get to Japan, Tokyo.
It takes longer than that, and I can show you. But so, what do you think the max speed of a commercial jet is?
I think it can go over 500 miles per hour.
Yep. That's about right. Like if we look up, we can just Google this. We can look up the max speed of like a Boeing 747 or something like this, and it's going to have a max speed, a cruising speed of Mach 0.86, which is around 570 miles an hour. And it does technically have a max speed of 659 miles an hour. Technically, that's the max speed. They don't usually fly that fast, and you can see how fast they're flying. But do you want to just take the max speed of 747-8? Which I guess
go for it.
Is 0.92 miles. Okay, so Mach 0.92. Okay, so first we need to figure out the distance between Tokyo and JFK, right?
Yeah. You are aware that there are some flight routes that make more sense on flat Earth, though?
I would love to see them, but we can let's talk about this first, and we'll talk about that later. Okay. So this is 6,744 miles, right?
So it would take over 10
punch
hours.
that in. So 6,744 miles.
Over 12 hours.
At max speed, right? Remember, max speed is, what number did we just get? We got 659 miles an hour. 6,744 divided by 659 would take 10.2 hours, right? So that's more than 10 hours. That's flying at absolute max speed.
Okay.
Okay. Now, keep in mind that doesn't include landing, that doesn't include takeoff. So we can actually just go look. This is a real flight that exists. We can just go look. It's called American Airlines Flight 168.
Mm-hmm.
And we can just go look. It flies every day. Today, it's taking 12 and a half hours to get there. So they're clearly not traveling at maximum speed the whole time. But even if they were, it would take more than 10 hours. Here it's taking 12 and a half hours. That's the standard cruising speed is 570-ish miles an hour. And we can just do that calculation if you want. 6,744 divided by 570 miles is 11.83 hours. And then you add half an hour for takeoff, add half an hour for landing, and you get to about 12 and a half hours. Fine. So this number makes sense, right?
Yes.
Okay, now let's go do the same thing for the distance between Santiago and Sydney.
Before you do that, though, I need everyone in the audience to understand that flight takes a refuel. They refuel in America halfway through.
This flight from Tokyo to
not that flight. Not that flight.
Tokyo?
Not that flight from South America to Sydney, Australia.
Oh no, they don't.
Yes,
it's a direct flight. Flies every day. You didn't know this, huh? Flies every day from Santiago to Sydney.
What's with the curved flight path?
That's the shape. That is the actual flight path that it takes. It flies southwest first.
On a globe, the shortest distance would be a straight line.
You want to bet? Want me to pull up Google Earth and I can show you the straight line connecting Santiago and Sydney?
I have a better question.
Hold on. We gotta. I mean, you made a claim. We gotta verify it, right? So here's Santiago, is somewhere around here. There's Santiago.
Yeah.
We're gonna draw a straight line connecting it to Australia, to Sydney, right there. Here's a straight line. Looks straight to me, doesn't it? Now, oh, what's that? It goes south first, and then it swings up until it goes north again. That's exactly the shape of this trajectory. Exactly the shape.
Okay, I have a better question.
On this map, that distance is almost twice the distance that it is from New York to Tokyo, right? Santiago to Sydney would be almost twice the distance.
Yes, but
and yet somehow, even when the winds are fighting them, which they are here, the estimated total travel time is only 3 hours longer, even though it's almost twice as far away.
So Eric made a claim in that video that flight path refuels in America.
It doesn't though. It flies every day.
All right, I have a question. Can we watch the video together? Because I just watched that video.
No, we can't because I'll get demonetized.
Maybe if you want, can't you cut that part out? By the way,
I can just show you a flight that happened yesterday on this flight path.
It's not fair though, because there are flight paths. Dude,
he just Santiago, and it flies direct to Sydney, and this one took 15 hours and 28 minutes.
I promise you, in that video, he showed flight paths that would make more sense on a flat Earth than on a globe.
Okay, but what about this flight path?
He explained it. The video is actually.
He said that it goes through North America, but it doesn't. It goes direct from Santiago to Sydney. You can see it right here. There's no stop.
The video was about this specific flight path, but he also went into other.
If it's about this specific flight path, then he wouldn't have said it stops in North America, because if it did, it would go up first, but it doesn't.
I don't
entirely. In fact, you can just buy this flight if you wanted to.
No, he actually mentioned that in the video. He said that flight gets canceled last second, or they change it to.
It runs literally every day.
Okay, I understand. You guys are making two different claims. I can't verify.
Santiago to Sydney. I'm just gonna see if I can buy this flight. We'll buy it for, I don't know, tomorrow. I don't know if there's any flights available tomorrow.
You said they get canceled last
Here
second.
it is, right here. Here's the flight it leaves at 1 p.m. on Tuesday in Santiago, and it lands at 5:40 p.m. on Wednesday in Australia. There's no stopover, no nothing. And you can make the claim that it gets canceled all the time. The unfortunate thing is that we have a record of when the flights ran. It ran on Sunday. It didn't run on Saturday. It ran on Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday, the Friday before that. So I guess it runs every day except Saturday.
I have a question. If you turn the audio off on the video, can you play it and not get demonetized?
Yeah, in principle I can. How long is it?
It's 6 minutes.
You want me to sit here? You want me to sit here and watch a 6-minute video with you? Why can't we just like what's the flight that you're referring to?
I don't remember because I watched it like literally before I joined this live.
So then why don't you remember it?
Because I was really only watching to hear his explanation on the Sydney and the Australia and South America.
Okay, but so here we have this flight. It's direct. There's no stops. So what do you have?
Yeah, I'm just saying he would be able to explain it better.
Able to, what's there to explain?
It's only 6 minutes.
Do you agree that it's direct?
Yeah, in theory it is.
In theory, this is a real flight. You can just go buy a ticket for it.
All right. Can we just watch the video in silence?
No, I'm not going to sit here in silence because 6 minutes is a long time and we're doing a live stream.
Just 2 minutes.
What will we find out there with no sound on that you can't explain?
I promise you, he explained this flight path.
We're gonna have to have the sound off.
That's fine.
So we can't hear them explaining anything.
You can turn the captions on, and I'll read for everybody. I'll read out the captions out loud.
So why not instead, if you want, you can come back in 15 minutes or half an hour or whatever. You can go watch it and you can remember the talking points. How about that?
Wait.
And I'll bring you back up later.
Can you leave me on the call and can I play it on my laptop and then I'll be unmute when I'm ready?
No, I'm not going to do that.
But I'll be muted.
It just doesn't work out that way. It's not a good way to run a live stream.
Okay.
So if you want to come back later, you're welcome to.
Okay.
But otherwise, I'm going to let you go.
Wait. You'll accept me when you see me in the box, right?
Yeah, well, I'll finish whatever conversation I have going, and then I'll bring you back up afterwards, okay?
Okay.
All right. Take care, Mohammed. By the way, I'm pretty sure Eric Dubé is also a white supremacist, which kind of checks out, right? But, you know, if he has evidence, he has evidence. All right, let's read some super chats and then bring up our next guest. We have... Oh, no. Okay, we do have some super chats. From Brian Peck with the $5, a caustic would have a huge blur across the dome to the southwest, across to the southeast. Right. It would smear out the sun across the whole thing. It would be peaked in the south, I would imagine, because that would be the closest place, and so it would be brightest. But yeah, that would be crazy. They should see that every night. From Pat in the chat with the $5. FLERF using a Gleason's to discuss flat Earth. Also FLERF after being questioned about the same exact map. We don't have a model. Dude, shut the fuck up. Yeah, that is the problem. On the one hand, they want to say that they don't have a model. On the other hand, they want to rely on the Gleason map to make sense of things. Right? That's just the reality of how the flat Earthers have to work. From Carrie Yost with the $10, realizing FLERFs are often ADHD or similar. They struggle to hold on to their arguments and get overly excited when they imagine they've made a good point. Lower dopamine levels, need frenzied emotions. Hold on now. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Carrie, I recognize that you're trying to act in good faith here, but let's absolutely not say, oh, flat earthers are this way because they have ADHD. Let's not do that. Because I have ADHD too, and I don't do that. From Tyler with the $2, LAN 809 in the air now. Oh, I'm not familiar with that flight. What's LAN 809? Oh, this is another flight from Santiago to Sydney. What's the weather like right now? Because they're taking a huge detour to the south. Let me just pull this up so you guys can see what I'm seeing. See how they have this flight plan? Or they did take a huge detour to the south. They have this flight plan that would have swung through here, but they took a huge detour to the south, and I don't know why. I'm curious if there was some like some weather that had to be accounted for. Worldwide weather. Maybe? I don't know. From MC Grail with the $5, consider this a donation to your patience and your ability to debate in good faith. I do my best. I appreciate that. All right, we have time for another guest. Let's bring up another guest. Let's talk to Miriam. Do, 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 do. Yeah, the flight path is exactly as it should look on the globe. You're right. Miriam. All right, it looks like Miriam's not connecting, so we'll bring up our next guest. Let's talk to Ron Vallandingham. We'll just call him Ron. A long last name. Looks like Ron's not connecting either. They will reroute you once you buy a ticket. Proof? Evidence? Where's the proof or evidence? You can't just say shit like that. You gotta bring your A game. Jimbo, how's it going?
Hello, I'm from Germany. That's because my English is not so good.
That's fine.
I want to say,
Jim,
I'm a
what
globe.
shape do you think the Earth is, Jim?
On a globe.
Okay, well, I gotta let you go then, because we are looking for opposition here. Well, thanks for being here, Jim.
No.
All right, let's talk to Ultimate. I always love when they say, no. Right? All right, looks like that person's not connecting. Let's talk to Joel. Joel, how's it going?
When did you last shit?
That's a weird question to ask. All right, let's talk to Milan. Very personal. Milan, how's it going?
I'm good. You?
I'm doing all right. Milan, what shape do you think the Earth is?
It's flat.
All right. Why do you think it's flat, Milan?
Because of the poles.
Because of the poles?
Yeah, especially
Which poles?
Antarctica.
Okay. What about the Antarctic pole?
It's just weird because there are also no satellite pictures on Google Maps.
There are no satellite pictures of Antarctica?
From the North Pole.
There are, wait, so there, hold on. So there are satellite pictures of the North Pole, but there aren't of the South Pole?
No, other way around.
So there are satellite pictures of the South Pole, but not of the North Pole?
Not from the North Pole.
Sorry, when you minimize the app, I can't hear what you said. So you want to repeat that for me? And he left. Okay. By the way, there are satellite pictures of both. They're just lower resolution. Okay. All right, let's bring up... oh, Mohammed is back. Great.
Hello?
Welcome back,
I'm
Mohammed.
back.
All right, so
I got
what's the talking point? How do you explain it? How do you explain this flight path?
Well, can I play the video on my phone?
No, we've been over this. You can't play it with audio. I will get demonetized.
Okay.
I thought you just went to go watch the video so that you could learn what the talking point was.
Yeah, I am doing that right now.
Okay, so what's the talking point?
Second. I'm just gonna turn the audio a little bit down so won't get demonetized.
Well, okay, you figure that out and then come back, okay? Let's talk to Nick Carter. I mean, it's been 7 minutes, so he's had time to watch it. Nick, how's it going? Nick? Nicholas? Nicodemus? Nicotine? Oh, and he left. Okay. All right, let's talk to Fire. Fireball. Fire, how's it going?
Yo, what's good?
You know, it is what it is. Fire, what shape do you think the Earth is? Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I think it's an egg.
You think it's an egg? Okay.
I have a valid point.
Okay, so you don't think it's flat?
I think it's an egg.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here, Egg.
Is that...
Bring up Ron. Ron, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing, Bliss?
I'm doing okay.
Bliss?
Ron, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Be honest with you, I'm not smart enough to know what shape it is. I haven't been up in space and seen it.
Okay,
so
and what time is it for you?
12:53.
And how many drinks have you had?
I'm completely sober.
Okay. And so why do you not think that we can figure out what shape the Earth is?
I didn't say we couldn't figure it out. I haven't been up in space. If there is a space, I don't know how I love watching your content, man. You extremely intelligent, and
I appreciate that.
I love watching you debate with people, and I try to learn from you. I try to learn from everybody on here. That's what I use this app for. And if I see flat earthers and they're talking about flat earth, I'm like, wow, that kind of, you know, everybody's got two different sides, and I don't know who to believe. You know, it's like, but
just a quick question, Ron. If you're feeling some chest pain, and let's say that you live near the hospital,
right?
You're having some chest pain, so you walk outside. You're on your way to the emergency room. Do you first stop and ask the the random street preacher what you should do about your chest pain, or do you go inside the hospital and ask the doctor what you should do about your chest pain?
The second one.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to figure out something, you should probably listen to the people who know what they're talking about, the people who are educated on this, rather than listening to every random person with a TikTok account. Right. You should probably listen to like the scientists, not random people who make their money grifting about the flat Earth. Right.
Yeah, I know. It just like, man, they actually sound kind of convincing though. It's crazy.
You know who else sounds convincing?
Who?
Con artists.
Who?
Con artists.
Yeah, that's what they are, I guess.
Just because they sound convincing doesn't mean that they're saying something that's true.
Yeah, I would love to, maybe one day we'll be able to go trip in outer space and see it but that might not. Do you think that'd be in our lifetime?
If you're rich enough, sure.
Like, how much you think it would cost to take a flight to outer space?
I don't know. Ask, Jeff Bezos.
Because
it's been done.
It's been done.
Mm-hmm.
I got all kinds of plans. Maybe launch my own satellite one day.
Good luck.
And, yeah.
Ron, I'm gonna let you go because I'm looking for opposition here. But thanks for being here.
God bless.
Also, please cancel me. I assumed that he was A, going to be belligerent, and B, was inebriated. I actually don't think he was. And so shame on me for assuming that he was. I actually don't think that he was. I think that that may just be his voice. So apologies, Ron, for, kind of being shitty about that. From Empiricist with the $2, he's not even a good Nazi. Can't follow orders. All right, let's bring up our next guest. Let's talk to Bobo the Elf.
Cancel me if you can. Ron was slow. Cancel me if you can.
Okay.
All right. No.
He told me to. I was just following orders. All right, let's talk to Stiz. Stiz, how's it going? Stiz, you there? Okay, Stiz is not here. Let's talk to Dot. Dot, how's it going?
Hello? So I actually believe that the Earth is
All right. Let's talk to Long Dude. Long Dude, how's it going?
I'm doing good. I don't want to waste your time. I am a Glober, but I just want to say thank you for the good information for the flat earthers. I'm going to waste your time. Thank you, sir. You're doing a
thanks
good
for
job.
being here. All right. Appreciate it. Take care. All right, let's talk to let's see if Mohammed has watched the video yet.
All right, so I pulled up an AI transcriptor for the video.
Why didn't you just watch the video?
I did.
All right, so what's the explanation?
So there's two parts I want to go over. First, secondly, I guess, flight paths that make more sense on flat Earth, and they
before we
don't
do
make
that,
sense.
like you promised,
Yeah,
or rather,
Sydney,
I asserted that we were going to talk about this one first, and then
yes, understand.
after we finish that, then we can
All right,
talk about.
I'm just going to read off the transcript regarding the Sydney to San Diego nonstop flight. Data from Google Flights reports an average duration of 13 hours and 22 minutes, with Google Earth citing a total distance of approximately 7,063 miles between the two cities. Calculating the average speed, which is 7,603 miles divided by 13.3 hours, equals 531 miles per hour. This speed is consistent with the typical average speed of commercial airlines, approximating 540 miles per hour according to Google search. Thus, the video concludes that such flights are not only possible on a flat Earth, but the flight time matches expectations.
Oh, wait a minute. How are they possible on a flat Earth?
Can I finish the transcript?
Well, I mean, I'm asking a question about the transcript.
Yeah,
you just said that they're possible on a flat Earth.
It's getting into that.
Okay, explain how it's possible on the flat Earth. Sure.
Some globe proponents concede this, but argue that non-stop Sydney to Santiago flights supposedly follow a great circle route over the Pacific Ocean, staying entirely in the southern hemisphere, which would increase the flight distance, speed, and duration. This claim is challenged on two grounds. Number one, there is no verified evidence that these non-stop flights exist, as no unedited video footage is publicly available. Attempts by flat Earth proponents to book such flights reportedly result in cancellations or changes to non-direct routes. And number two, if these flights do exist, it remains unproven that they follow the claimed Pacific Great Circle route. Flight trackers often lose signal over the oceans, and considering 99% of long-haul southern hemisphere flights take northern detours, it is unlikely. And what it's talking about there is the paths that take northern detours that don't have to if the Earth is a globe. It's talking about the flight path that make more sense on a flat Earth.
Just to be clear, we are talking about we are not talking about the ones that take detours, right?
No, we're talking about Sydney.
Right.
And
so that seems not really relevant.
Well, I want to get into it after I talk about this one.
Right. That's fine. So that distance that we have, right? That distance of 7,000-ish miles, 7,300 whatever miles. Where did that number of miles come from?
Let me go back and look.
Came from Google Earth.
7,063. So you're saying it's only on Google Earth?
Yep. Because if we go look at the flat Earth model, you can go look up what the distance is between Tokyo and New York, and you'll get like 6,500 miles or so. And so you're telling me that the distance from Santiago to Sydney, which on the flat Earth is nearly twice as far, is only 500 miles longer? No, on a flat Earth, the distance would be nearly twice as far. Not like 7,300 miles, right? It doesn't work.
Okay.
On a globe, they are the same distance, or very nearly the same distance. On a globe, it's slightly further to go from Santiago to Sydney than it is to go from New York to Tokyo. But it's only slightly farther, like 500 miles further or something like this. So the claim that it's possible on a flat Earth to cover that distance in 13 and a half hours, say, doesn't follow. It only is possible to cover that distance when that distance is measured Or it's only possible because that distance is measured on a globe Earth, not on a flat Earth.
Okay. Can I just finish reading the transcript?
Why not we address what the topic now? Because you're your own person, right?
Yeah.
So you read it, you understood it, you can synthesize it, and now you can respond,
that on
right?
the flat Earth, I understand on the flat Earth model, it's probably more than 7,000 miles apart.
Way more.
The transcript addresses this. It says even if such flights do exist and follow the purported Great Circle,
they do, by the way.
And follow the purported Great Circle route, the video asserts that there is no reason these flights would be impossible on flat Earth. It notes that while 540 miles per hour is the average speed for commercial airlines, many aircraft can fly faster. So commercial airlines are on average I'm getting to that. So on average, commercial airlines are 540 miles per hour. Most Boeings or conveyors can go from 600 miles per hour to 800 miles per hour. And then
no Boeings can go 800 miles per hour. That's faster than the speed of sound.
How fast is the speed of sound?
767, I want to say.
Okay.
They can't fly that fast. Otherwise, they'd be producing sonic booms.
They're talking about the video points, the planes following trade winds and jet streams as well. So they're talking about what's capable of these aircraft if they were to maximize.
Can you explain how it can travel? It takes 1 hour longer, roughly, on average, 1 hour longer, and yet it's traveling nearly twice the distance. Do trade winds account for that?
1 hour or more from what?
So the two relevant flights
from America to Japan, Tokyo.
Yeah, from New York to Tokyo. It takes about an hour longer to go from Santiago to Sydney as compared to New York to Tokyo. Do trade winds account for essentially doubling your speed?
No, not double. I mean, it also lists Concorde supersonic, which has a max speed of 1,500 miles per hour.
Okay, but this isn't a flight on the Concorde. This is a flight on. Well, we can go look up what the plane is, but this isn't a Concorde. Concordes haven't flown since the early 2000s. This is on a Boeing 787 Dreamliner.
Okay.
We can go look at the max speed, by the way.
I want to challenge you.
The max speed for a Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner has a maximum operating speed of Mach 0.9, which is 679 miles per hour.
Okay.
Standard cruising speed is 561.
So I wanted to contend with you the claim that Sydney to Santiago, it isn't 7,000 miles.
Okay. So you think that it is 7,000 miles, or you think that it's more than 7,000 miles?
That's what Google Earth says. I want to know why you don't think that Google Earth is accurately.
Google Earth is a globe model. It is about 7,000 miles, 7,300 miles or so. But if you think the Earth is flat, then it has to be way longer. Oh shoot, the live was just discontinued on TikTok? I missed there was okay, I have to restart the live. We'll bring them back up in a sec. But I didn't notice that it detected inactivity for whatever reason. So we'll bring them back up in a sec. Sorry, everybody. Sometimes TikTok thinks that there's inactivity and then it just ends the live stream, which is really annoying. And unless you notice that it says, we've detected inactivity, click this in order to blah, 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 then it just ends the live stream. So no, it just ended the live stream because it thought I was being inactive. Sorry, everybody. We'll bring it back up in a sec. The live stream just got booted. I'm sorry. Don't worry, it'll be back. It'll be back. No, it ended because it detected inactivity, which is annoying.
Wait, why'd it end?
So sometimes, if you're not moving a lot, just because I have my head, sometimes TikTok just thinks that you're inactive and you just have a live stream up. And so unless you notice that it says, hey, we've seen inactivity, make sure to do this little puzzle to make sure that you're not inactive, it'll just end the live sometimes. And you have you're given a minute to notice it, and I wasn't looking at that monitor, so I didn't notice it. Anyway. But nobody, it didn't get reported or anything. We're fine. So if we look on this
Can
map,
you just go to Google Earth?
Yeah, let's go to Google. Let's go to Google Earth, and we can just measure
I want to know
distances.
how far apart Tokyo and New York are, and how far apart
absolutely
Sydney to Santiago are.
Okay, so here's New York. We're going to go over to Tokyo. Tokyo's down here somewhere. There it is.
Can you put it in
that's
miles?
10,000. That's 10,863 kilometers, which
can you just go to Google Earth and change kilometers to miles?
it's 6,750 miles. I don't. Maybe there's a setting to change it too, but it's 6,750 miles from New York to Tokyo, right?
Yeah.
And now, if we want to measure from Santiago to Sydney, we can do the same thing. Where's Santiago? Where's
right
Santiago?
there. You missed it. It's down there.
Yeah, okay. Oops. That's not what I want to measure. Measure. Santiago. So 6,750 is was the first number.
So that is way more.
And we have 11,369.
That looks like it's way more than 7,000.
And so this is just over 7,000 miles, 7,064 miles. So we have
does the Gleason say?
300 miles more from Sydney to Santiago or from Santiago to Sydney compared with New York to Tokyo. Now on the Gleason map,
what does Gleason say?
There's no official measurement, but what we can do with the Gleason map is we can just take this into some photo editing software, and we can there's a website. What's it called? Let me see if I can pull it up. I don't. There's a website that is it's called Photopea, which is like a
Photopea.
Yeah, that one. And so we can take this and then we can make a measurement. Okay. Hold on, I just want to grab this and put it over here. So why can't I see the whole thing? Let me see the whole thing. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we can, let me zoom in. There we go. So we can take this and make a measurement. I think that there's a measurement tool in this on this website, right?
I think so. The distance is at the top. Do you see it?
Yeah, but we need like because we're not measuring straight. We need to measure. I know that there's a way to do this.
You have to overlay them.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're going to. Nope, that's path. If anybody knows how to do this, by the way, ruler tool. Okay, that's what we want. We want the ruler. Where's the ruler tool? I don't use this program like ever, so ruler. We'll find it. We will get there. We'll do it. Ruler tool. Here we go. Okay, so here we have a ruler. It's roughly there. So for this line, the length is 175 pixels, right? I'm just going to write that down. So the line is 175.57 pixels. Now we're going to move the line to Santiago, to Sydney, and the line now is, it's actually much further. The line now, and I want to make sure that you can see that. Yeah, okay, you can see the number.
Is it 424?
It's 424.95 pixels. So we can just use the ratio of distances, right? So that means that, at least according to the Gleason map, we have that the distance from Santiago to Sydney is 2.42 times longer. So if it were the case that the distance from, New York to Tokyo was indeed 6,750 miles or so, using that scale, we would find that the distance from Santiago to Sydney would be over 16,000 miles, which, if you're flying at 600 miles an hour, say, which is fairly fast, should take 27 hours. Like, it doesn't work. It doesn't work on a flat Earth. You need the measurements from the globe in order to make the math work.
This is, obviously where the conspiracy side of it comes in.
Yep.
Which is that, like as Mr. Eric Dubé claimed, there are no verified solo.
Unfortunately, there are.
Let me look at his exact claim. You go ahead.
Yeah, so this is and I'm not going to show you the video because I'm not going to be a hypocrite, but this is a time lapse of a video from Qantas Flight 28. This is the one from Santiago to Sydney. This time lapse was taken on December 22nd, 2024. And it's just like, you can look, it's just the whole time lapse. But importantly, there is a particular frame that I need to find again because I just closed out of it. One sec. there's a particular frame of this video which proves exactly where it is. So not going to play it.
Do you think most of these flight paths take time refueling?
This one, no. This is a direct flight.
Okay.
Why would
can
it
I
take
ask
time
you about
refueling?
the other ones? Because there are other flights that do
Hold on.
make
I just want to show you
sense.
something, by the way. So do you see that reflection in the window?
Yes. Wait.
Okay.
Yeah, I see it.
So this is that's that overview that you get sometimes when you're on an international flight. But if we go here, you can actually see, and it's a little bit hard to see, but you can actually see what we're seeing is two reflections because the windows are double paned. But what you can actually see is you can see the plane is close to Antarctica. We can see it in the reflection. You can see the Antarctica thing, and so you can see the location of the plane. So this verifies that the plane is actually on that flight. Well, the plane is actually on that flight, right?
Is that reflection supposed to be Antarctica?
No, the white part down at the bottom is Antarctica. The plane is in the middle.
I know.
It's the shape of Antarctica.
I mean, that could be anything.
It's a big icy landmass that you're flying north of. What else is it going to be?
It's only in the top right corner.
What do you mean it's only in the top right corner? It's in the south. It's the south of the plane.
So on the other side of the plane, Antarctica would be there.
Yeah. So it'd be this image is flipped left to right because it's a reflection, and so you should see it. You should see it out you should see it to the left. So I think that it zooms in at some point, but the plane in this picture looks like it's going to the east, but it's flipped left to right because it's a reflection. And so if you're actually on this plane, you wouldn't see it because it's hundreds of miles away. But Antarctica would be on your left.
Okay. I just want to know how we can verify that is, because it looks like a digital screen.
You're right. This is a digital screen. You've never been on like a long flight where they display like your flight path.
When I was in a plane, they didn't have that.
Okay, so on long flights, they often have like the screen in front of you, and you can go click on the flight path button or whatever, and it'll cycle through like a few different things. It'll cycle through like this kind of picture, like a digital picture of like the orientation that you can see, and then there's like kind of like a picture where you're like of your flight path from like kind of looking kind of like on Google Earth.
In other words, that's not.
There's a display.
That's not a
of
real
like
reflection of Antarctica.
No. This is a digital display that's in front of your seat when you're on the plane.
All right.
No, but this verifies that this is the Qantas Flight 28. Because why would they be displaying this flight on a flight that wasn't going there or wasn't allegedly going there?
That's supposed to be Antarctica, right?
Yes.
Show the beginning.
The beginning of the flight?
This flight starts out in Santiago. Is that true?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not Sydney?
Yeah. Hold on, I have to skip forward because it's a long video. Here it is.
What do you think
Here's
about the ice wall?
So like it's a time lapse, right? So like you can see the whole thing. And the reason why I showed you this is because the relevant part is you can see that you can see where on the globe the flight is supposed to be, according to the flight map that was displayed. That's why I brought that up, because this is that's a way of verifying that this is actually the flight of this is actually Qantas Flight 28, and it's an actual full duration time lapse. So this is a verified example of Qantas Flight 28 direct from Santiago to Sydney.
Okay.
Which is what Eric Dubé said doesn't exist.
Can we talk about flight paths that make more sense on flat Earth? Sure,
as long as you recognize that this flight path doesn't make any sense on flat Earth and makes perfect sense on a globe. Sure, we can pivot.
As it is right now, I need more. I definitely agree with you on this flight path. I'd have to look into it more, but that doesn't necessarily mean I agree with you.
I'm not. Yeah, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to change your mind immediately. Just as long as we agree that like something's up. Okay, so you want to talk about flight paths that make more sense on the globe or on the flat Earth?
Yes.
Sure, go ahead.
So the first point I want to make is that it'll be much faster for these flight paths to work if they just went through Antarctica. Can you tell me the flight paths?
Because I can't really see them; they're small.
So this starts out in South America, and then there's New Zealand down there, and then there's Australia, and then there's Madagascar. All these flight paths.
Pick one flight path and we can talk about it. How about that?
Well, your guys' excuse for this is that we can't fly over Antarctica because it's too cold.
Which flight path? Which flight path? Just pick one.
Any of these would be faster.
Just pick one.
Okay, fine. South America to New Zealand.
Where in South America? Santiago or?
I don't know where this is.
But that doesn't even look like a real flight path. It ends in the ocean.
No, wait. It starts out here.
Yeah, that's the ocean. Where it starts is the ocean.
New Zealand. No, it starts.
Why is the red bit ending in the ocean? These aren't real. This isn't like a real flight path.
This is just showing that if the Earth were a globe.
Okay, let's say so we're not talking about a specific flight. Then we're just talking about like.
No,
but what about a flight from Santiago to New Zealand?
I want to talk about these ones later.
Okay. So why don't we talk about a flight from Santiago to Auckland, right?
The second shortest route.
You won't get demonetized for this, will you?
Yes, I will.
Straight to the audio. Okay.
So here is a flight from South America to New Zealand on the globe, and it doesn't pass over Antarctica at all. Straight line path. Doesn't pass over Antarctica. From Santiago to New Zealand.
That's not where it was, though. It was on the right side of South America.
Okay. So, well, you didn't give me a city. Side. You just said South America.
I'm not.
So,
I'm not.
Let's pick a random city.
It'd be on the right side of Argentina.
Okay, so I just picked a random city in Brazil. Still doesn't pass over Antarctica.
Okay.
Right.
Whatever. I think that image, the first image I showed you, I think is whatever. Right. Like.
Yep, that sounds about right.
This is the meat of the argument.
So pick two cities and tell me a flight path that doesn't make sense between them.
Yeah, just give me a second. All right, so he's saying if Earth were truly a sphere, then the second shortest route for all flights would be a straight shot due east or west over the Pacific, staying in the southern hemisphere.
Can you give me examples of the cities?
He's going over right now. Okay. Refueling could even be done in New Zealand or other southern hemisphere destinations along the way. So here's a flight path. I think it's. You can tell who this is. That's Australia, that's America, and that's South America.
So he's using Santiago to Sydney, which we know that there's a direct flight for.
I don't think that's what he's doing.
Those locations are Santiago and Sydney. Southeast Australia is Sydney, and what's the destination in South America?
Maybe he's talking about that one. I'm trying to.
We know that there's a direct flight, so try again.
Hemisphere, making stopovers at LAX and other.
I have to mute you if you're going to play the audio.
Yeah. So this is Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently it stops at LA and it goes to Santiago. That's what he's saying here.
I'm sure that there are routes that go that way, but there's also a direct flight. Are you asking why are there routes that go that way?
Well, I think earlier you denied the fact that some paths from Santiago to Sydney, they do refuel halfway through.
No, I just said that there is a direct flight. This one does not refuel at all. It's just a direct flight. Now, there are paths that take you from Santiago to LA and then from LA to Sydney. I'm sure that those exist because that's going to be a more popular flight. From Los Angeles to Sydney will be more popular than Santiago to Sydney. More people fly from LA to Sydney than they do from Santiago. So you're probably going to get more frequent flights from Los Angeles to Sydney than you will from Santiago to Sydney. So if you wanted to catch a flight at a specific time, you might have to connect somewhere that's a bigger hub.
Okay, he's making a good point here. Can I repeat it?
Go ahead.
So he's saying on a globe, Santiago, Chile to Johannesburg, South Africa should be a easy flight, all taking place below the Tropic of Capricorn in the southern hemisphere.
Santiago to Johannesburg?
Yeah. Yet every listed flight makes a curious refueling stop in Senegal, near the Tropic of Cancer, in the Northern Hemisphere.
Or wait, we want Johannesburg? Where's Johannesburg?
It's in South America. South Africa, yes.
But where?
South
Why
Africa.
don't I see it on them? Where in South?
It's right here.
Oh, there it is.
See it?
Okay. Here's what a direct flight would look like from Santiago to Johannesburg.
Yeah, but what he's saying is that the flight paths that we have, the information on them.
So what's the flight? Let's look.
He's saying they all take a refueling stop in Dakar, Senegal.
Okay, let's see if that's true. Let's see if there are any direct flights. Yeah, there are direct flights apparently.
Since when? Because this video was
I'm just checking.
3 years ago.
One sec. Let's see if I can find some.
Because Senegal is actually directly in a straight line path.
So he's saying Senegal. The
Okay,
reason
so
why
I'm seeing one that connects in. Where's Porto? Or wait a minute, hold on. I want one stop, right? Because that's what we're looking for.
He's saying that they stop in Dakar, Senegal, in Africa.
So I see one where they stop in Sao Paulo, which is in Brazil.
Right, but what he's saying is
I'm not seeing one where they stop in Senegal at all.
He's saying if truly a globe, it would make less sense to actually refuel because
wait a minute,
it's much quicker to go the globe route.
So I'm just going to look up this flight. This flight is LA 8179.
Johannesburg to Santiago.
8179. Oh no, that's not what I want. I want flight. Is it flight stats or? It's flight aware is what I want. No, that's the wrong one.
He's calling into question why these.
So I'll show you what I'm seeing. So here we have a flight from Santiago to Johannesburg, right?
Yeah.
And this, so we start in Santiago, and then we land in Sao Paulo, which is in Brazil, and then we go from Brazil to Tambo International Airport, which I guess is in Johannesburg. Yeah. So if we go and look there, well, where is this airport? Sao Paulo. I imagine it's in Sao Paulo. So where's Sao Paulo? So instead of doing Santiago to Sydney or Santiago to Johannesburg direct, it seems like what they do is they do Santiago to wherever Sao Paulo was here. Oops. Santiago to Sao Paulo to Johannesburg, which is
but
pretty close to direct. Yeah. It isn't direct, but it's pretty close to direct. So like, what's the complaint?
The shorter path would be not refuel.
Yeah. So
it'd be quicker to.
Yeah. So anytime you make a stop, it's always going to be a longer path. Yeah.
Exactly.
So do you think? Okay. So let me give you an example. I'm flying later next month. Right. I'm flying to Rome. Right. I live in Arizona. So let me just pull this up really quick, just so then we can draw on a paint.
Here's another one.
Hold on. Before we do that, I just want to illustrate a point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
And I'm not just bringing up some other random flight. I'm just bringing up an example to make a point. So I'm flying to Rome. Rome is here. Rome is here, right? That's where Rome is. Now, I live in Arizona. A direct flight would be from here to here. Oh, I'm sorry, you can't see what I'm saying.
I don't think anyone can.
Oh, wait a minute. Why can't you see what I'm...
We're still on the Gleasons.
Do I have two? Yeah, okay, sorry, it was just small, right? So a direct flight would be from Arizona to Rome, right? That'd be the direct flight?
Yeah.
Okay, but the actual flight that I'm taking, because there's no direct flight from Arizona to Rome, is I'm first going to Seattle, and then I'm going to Rome. Why would I do that if it's indirect?
Obviously to refuel.
Or just because there's not very many people in Phoenix that want to go to Rome. And so you have to stop at a hub.
That too?
That's the actual reason in this case. And so I suspect that there are more people in Sao Paulo that are interested in going to Johannesburg than there are in Santiago. So I imagine that it's easier to find a flight from Sao Paulo to Johannesburg than it is to find a flight from Santiago to Johannesburg. So
okay,
it's like whenever
you see on your model,
whenever you have to not just do a stopover, it's or whenever you have to just do a stopover, it's not always to refuel. Sometimes it's just because you need to go to a hub first because there's not necessarily enough demand to go from point A to point B.
But do you see here Sao Paulo and Johannesburg? They are so short distance together. It could be like a 2-hour flight. Looks like.
Yeah, I think
maybe
it
more.
is.
But look, they stop in London.
They don't. They stop in Sao Paulo. The flight I just showed you stops in Sao Paulo.
I'm talking about a different flight. I'm talking about Sao Paulo to Johannesburg. So I think we're talking about different things now. So
Sao
on
Paulo
this
to
flight
Johannesburg
path,
has a direct flight.
It does?
Yeah, that was the one I showed you. That's the one that we were talking about.
Why would it stop in London?
It doesn't.
Okay, then why does it say that?
Here, let me show you a flight from Sao Paulo to Johannesburg. It's in the air right now. Sorry, one sec. This flight is in the air right now. Sao Paulo to Johannesburg. Sorry, let me put this over here. Sao Paulo to Johannesburg. It's in the air right now. It's direct.
Where do you see the time?
Oh, I guess it's not in the air. I guess it finished the flight recently. It took 8.5 hours.
Is there a path though that goes through London?
Is there a flight from Sao Paulo to London and then from London to Johannesburg? There probably is. You could fly from Sao Paulo to London, I imagine. You can also probably fly from London to Johannesburg. But there's also a direct flight, so it's irrelevant.
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is he picking these flights when there are shorter flights that exist?
Would you debate Eric Dubé?
Would he disavow all of his previous Nazi shit?
I don't think he's a Nazi.
Pretty sure he is.
Why do you think that?
I just from the clips that I've seen, but I can go see if I can find evidence for you.
Does being a science denier make you a Nazi?
No, being a Jew hater and white supremacist makes you a Nazi.
Yeah, I don't think he hates any race. But would you debate him though?
Hold on. This is so. I probably actually can't even display this because this will probably get me banned. But I see a video by Eric Dubé called Adolf Hitler versus the Jew World Order. He's a Nazi.
I think he likes to dive into history, like do deep dives.
Why would he say the Jew World Order?
Well, for this, let's ask. Why did
why are you defending like a known Nazi?
I want to know why did Mustache Man think these things? I think that's
sorry, we're not doing that. Actually, I'm not sorry because that's like a piece of shit. Like we knew that he was a piece of shit because he was already appealing to Eric Dubé and that he's a he's like a white supremacist in his profile. But like we're not doing that. Sorry, not sorry. Let's read some super chats and we'll move on to our next guest. From Jay Starks with the $5. Constant 15-degree-per-hour sun motion breaks perspective on a plane where it would have to appear to slow down the further it got, but it doesn't. Yep, that's true too. From Gretchen with the $5. I'd trade all future calls from Muhammad for one call from Free. You want a call with Free? Crazy. No, I don't debate Nazis. From Cherry Bomb with the $5. Appreciate all you do, Blitz. I appreciate you too. Thank you. All right, let's move on to our next guest. Let's double check that nobody's in the queue on Discord. Okay, we're good there. By the way, to everybody who's watching on Twitter or on Twitch, welcome. Who is the Nazi? The Nazi that's being referred to is Eric Dubé. All right, let's talk to, I've talked to Architect Grover. Let's talk to, I think, have I spoken with Renee? Hold on, I just got to double check some stuff. One moment. Okay, I don't think I've spoken with Renee, so let's bring up Renee. Renee, how's it going? Renee? Oh, okay, and Renee ran away. See, we're all right, let's talk to Drake. Drake, how's it going?
Hello, I have a question.
Drake, before you ask your question, I gotta ask you, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I'm not sure.
Okay, go ahead. Fire away.
What do you think the firmament ties into flat Earth and?
They have to believe that there's a firmament.
Okay, I like that answer. All right, that was my only question.
All right, take care. All right, let's talk to Red. Red, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Red, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Okay, I know I'm not supposed to be here because I think the Earth is round. I just want to say that nothing drives me more insane than flat earthers, and I really like your channel, and I want to have the chance to say that. So you can boo me. I appreciate your time.
Take care. All right, let's talk to Architect Grover. I feel like I recognize this name, but I don't. Architect Grover, how's it going?
Dr. Blitz, we love you.
Okay. Why do they do what they do? Who knows? Nobody knows why they do what they do. There's no reason, no explanation.
Hi.
Manu, how's it going?
Good. I'm not a flat earther, but I can't wrap my head around.
I gotta let you go.
How we? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk to Austin. Austin, how's it going? Okay, Austin disconnected. By the way, okay, let's talk to Ilyanas. All right, Ilyanas disconnected as well. I want to check something really quick. Sorry. Oh, I need to do the onboarding for the monetization. So you can't sub on Twitch yet, but you can at least like follow or whatever the word is. Let's read some super chats really quick. From A for Brennan with the $5. Neo-Nazis can't help themselves. They always reveal themselves. Gross. I know they do. They always, like, they'll start out like hiding their true power, and then they eventually say something stupid, and then it's like, oh, I don't have to talk to you. From Bass65574 with the $5. Is Atlanta is halfway between Iowa and Michigan. Delta will happily sell you that ticket. Calling layovers fuel stops is so tiring. Yeah, they're not always fuel stops. In fact, how far can a... I'm actually just curious about maximum range of Boeing 78 or 770, or why don't we look up the maximum range of, what was that one of Airbus? Okay. Airbus A380 or Airbus A350. Let's look up that really quick. The maximum range of the Airbus A350 covers 8,500 nautical miles, which is 15,740 kilometers. So that is, there's a specialized variant that can fly up to 9,700 nautical miles, which is roughly 19 to 22 hours in the air. Now, what that means is that is more than a third of the way around the globe. And so like the only flights that you couldn't do on that would be flights from like Portugal to New Zealand. Right? There are very, very few land masses that are halfway around the globe from each other. So I don't know any flight that couldn't, in principle, be made without stopping. Now, there could be reasons why you would do a stopover anyway, because nobody wants to fly that far direct, so you would instead stop over at some bigger airport. But I can't think of any flights that you would need to do. From Oniwin with the $10, if only there were another way to show appreciation without interrupting the live. If only. And from Sloshy Whale with the $2, hypotenuse. I wish I was high on hypotenuse. Ayo, let's go. It's a good joke though. And from Kusu Ryuri with the $5, the FLERFS are dropping in droves. W Blitz. Indeed they are. They have recognized that they've lost and they are retreating. They retreat to their what are they called? Their echo chambers or whatever they are. Let me just double check on Discord. Oh, okay. Apparently, so I didn't notice this, but apparently Muhammad was spamming that I'm a supporter of Israel, which is like crazy because I'm not, but also because it just shows that he's like obviously a Nazi too. So we could even, I mean, like I don't think it's necessary to blacklist Muhammad because I'll probably remember his name forever, but you know, it is really funny that like he was like, oh, he's not a Nazi. Eric Dubé's not a Nazi, but why did Hitler do what he was doing? Right? Like, come on. All right, let's bring up Bruno.
Yo,
Bruno, how's it going?
Yo, it's going good. What about you, bro?
I'm doing okay.
That's
Bruno, what
good.
shape do you think the Earth is?
Okay, so like I can go both ways, but I really think it's flat only because like the way like in the United States, like I feel like the government does hide like a lot from us and like stuff like that. And like I know, well, like I don't know for a fact, but I like heard from like sources of my friends and like they showed me a bunch of stuff that like they took it out like the Bible and stuff with the firmament, like stuff like that. And like that's kind of like what I really believe in. But like I want to hear like I just kind of like, you know.
Well, look, I mean, fortunately, we don't have to rely on the U.S. government to know the shape of the Earth.
Okay, yeah, you're right. And I just like look at, I guess I'm just looking at it wrong. I just kind of need like I guess like if you could like explain it to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, so what I just went over with this other guy, I don't know if you were there for that. We can just look at the paths that flights take.
Mm-hmm.
You know, surely we agree that if there was a more efficient way to fly from point A to point B, and it was, you know, financially reasonable to do it, that the airline companies would make those flights, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And so why would like if the Earth is flat, then the paths that planes should take would be different than the paths that planes do take.
Yeah, because they like go around things and. So
in particular, if you're flying from somewhere in the southern hemisphere to somewhere else in the southern hemisphere, you start off by going south and then you swing up north again. Now, on a flat Earth, if you wanted to take the shortest path, you would start off by going north and then swing south. On a globe Earth, you start off by going south, then swing north. So the shortest, if the Earth were flat, then they should be taking the shortest path, which would be going north first and then south, rather than going south first then north. But they don't do that. So,
yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Like, you know, if you want to tell me that like even like the private corporations are in on it and they're hiding it and they're like I mean, like, sure, the private corporations might be in cahoots with the government, but like why would they be losing so much money spending all of this? Like they would just be lobbying the government to make it public so that they could take the shorter path so they can make more money, right?
Yeah, 100%. Another thing, like I don't is there like any type of reason why like we can't like go to Antarctica or like anybody like
you can.
But like I heard that like whenever you travel there's only like a certain amount of like places you can visit over there, like 2 or 3.
So no, you can go wherever you want with a few exceptions. So there are certain areas that are like private or are owned basically. And those places you'd have to get permission to go. But that's like 1% of the entirety of Antarctica. You could go everywhere else.
Okay, yeah, I got you. No, I appreciate it. I just wanted
and
to.
by the way, I wouldn't recommend going just to some random place in the middle of Antarctica, because you'll probably die because it's very cold.
Yeah.
But nobody's gonna stop you. Like there's no weapons on Antarctica. Like you're not allowed to bring military there.
It's not okay. I kind of just needed a better understanding, I guess. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, Bruno.
All right, thank you.
And from Tim Davidson with the $2, Flatty Earthers and the Chamber of Echoes. It's good. It's good, right? All right, let's talk to the Arc Warden series.
Hello, sir. How are you today?
I'm doing all right, Arc Warden. So what shape do you think the Earth is?
Well, I agree with you. I think it's round. I just wanted to hear your thoughts on the Coriolis effect, I think it's called.
I do talk about it a lot.
Doesn't that disprove flat Earth, kind of?
Yeah,
because that's usually what I use.
Flat Earthers think it's fake.
And then another one is Polaris.
Yep, also disproves flat Earth. But Arc Warden, I gotta let you go because you're not opposition.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. All right, let's talk to Law of Attraction. Law of Attraction, how's it going? Lava? 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 Okay, looks like lava's not here. That's fine. All right, let's talk to Chad. What a name. Chad, how's it going?
Good. How you doing? Hey, I heard you talking about.
Chad, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I think it is flat.
Why do you think it's flat, Chad?
Well, about 1,000 reasons. But
Chad, are you currently actively gaming right now?
No, I'm not actively gaming.
Are you driving?
No, I am in the passenger seat. I'm training today.
A, you're really quiet. B, it sounds like you're typing vigorously.
I am not. Is this better?
Sorry, one sec. Sorry about that phone call. So there's just a lot of background noise. Maybe when you pull over, we can talk.
What about now? Is it good now?
It is, but it just does sound like you're driving. All right, I'm gonna let you go. I'm the passenger. They always say they're the passenger. Andre, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Andre, what shape do you think the Earth is?
So I've recently, I obviously grew up being taught that it was a globe and that we're spinning thousands of miles. But recently, just with my experience in the military and then, friends that have put me up on, these flat Earth videos, I'm starting to think it's flat, honestly.
Okay, why?
Or maybe not flat, but maybe like a snow globe type, theory.
Yeah,
where
but the ground is flat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So why? Why do you think so?
So I guess what got me down this rabbit hole was my time in the Marine Corps. I was in the air wing, and all the pilots, most of them would say the Earth is flat. And at the time, I would
should
just
we
say,
care what the pilots say?
Yeah, exactly. I didn't. I thought they were just joking.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So I didn't think too much of it until I started. A friend of mine put me up to these videos. I started watching more and more and doing my own research, and I was like, you know what? It's there. Obviously, there's no way that I can prove it. Obviously, there's scientists that have way more experience, knowledge, and money to do experiments. But it was basically just the amount of lies that NASA has come out with, and this most recent, the most recent moon launch that they did.
Like what lies?
I mean, it looks like it's on a green screen. Like,
well, what
it doesn't.
lies?
It's not convincing.
What
I'm
lies?
sorry?
You said that the amount of lies that NASA has come out with.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, like the original moon footage has been proven to be fake, right?
How was it proven to be
come out.
fake?
They themselves had come out and said, "Hey, that's actually not the real footage. We recreated the footage because the original footage was lost."
Oh, who said that?
There's I don't know his name off the top of my head, but it was a representative from NASA explaining how we lost all the videos and we lost all of
because
the
we definitely didn't lose all the
telemetry
videos.
data.
So what happened? And I can explain this because you've clearly been lied to by flat earthers, which is fine. I can explain it.
Okay.
So on Apollo 11, that was the first moon landing. There's two things that are being that have the video, right? There's the direct video from the Apollo to Houston to mission control, right? That was being displayed on mission control whatever's, right? And then, because this was not in the digital era where they could just send this digitally, then you have people in mission control from I don't know, like TV companies that are pointing their cameras at the screens that mission control is getting. Now, what people watched live was the video that was being obtained by the TV companies. That wasn't what was sent directly from the moon to mission control, because either that wasn't recorded, or if it was recorded, it was recorded over for Apollo 11. But the thing that they were watching, that wasn't a recreation. The Apollo 11 footage that people saw, like when they were walking around on the moon, that wasn't a recreation. That was just a recording of the recording.
Okay, so that's where people are now coming out saying like they put that video into like Adobe Photoshop, mess around with the
Photoshop didn't exist in 1969.
Exactly, yeah. So that's why it's interesting that now they're taking those same videos with the Photoshop that we have now and are able to adjust some settings and pretty much see that it was fake. It's not a genuine video.
Okay, so which part about it is fake?
I guess the whole thing, like, you know, they've messed around with the
how do you
contrast
tell that it's fake by putting it into Photoshop?
by messing around with the contrast and seeing basically like the Earth, the image that they showed supposedly from the moon of the Earth. You can see polygons around it. You know, like
yeah, that's
like
because
as
it's a
if it-
low quality video. That's what you get when you do compression, right?
I mean, yeah, sure. I don't know too much about Photoshop, so I wouldn't be able to
Or
argue
about
that point. but-
photography or videography. Like that's from compression. That's what compression does. And if you're looking at these videos from YouTube and YouTube compresses video, that's what you're going to get. Now, just for the record, so that was the video telemetry that was lost. Basically, that initial video that was coming in wasn't recorded directly. Instead, we have the recording of the recording. But this is not the case for any of the other Apollo moon landings. We have everything. We didn't lose anything from any of the 5 other times we landed on the moon between 1969 and 1972. We have everything. And we left behind mirrors on the moon that we can bounce lasers off of. How did those get there if we didn't go to the moon?
I wasn't aware of that. That's actually what my next point was going to be. Like, why wouldn't we leave some kind of a way to prove, you know, like with the amount of, you know, the telescopes that we have now in today's technology, we should be able to zoom in right on the flag.
Well,
and,
no,
and
I mean
just
that's
prove
not
everybody.
true. So you can look up like how good our telescopes are. The current largest telescope on Earth. I actually don't know what the diameter is, but it's what it's 10 meters across, right? That's 34 feet. That's a huge telescope, by the way. Now, I've worked out the math and I made a video out of this a while ago, but with the current best telescopes that we have, you wouldn't be able to see anything that we left behind on the moon. You would need a telescope about 10 times bigger. Now, what we can see is we can point a laser at the moon, and because we left mirrors on the moon for this purpose, we can point the laser at the moon and then have it bounce back, and then we can collect the laser bouncing back.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that we had mirrors up there. That's something
That's what was left on the moon intentionally for this purpose. And so we can bounce lasers off the moon and then get the light back from it, and we can use that to figure out exactly how far away the moon is because we know how fast light travels. But that was left behind on the moon. I don't know how else we would have a mirror on the moon if it wasn't left there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, like this is my first time hearing about that, so I'm gonna do some research into that.
Yeah, I mean, there's
yeah.
also other pieces of like pretty easy to confirm evidence. There was a video that was recorded on the moon. It was called the Lunar Grand Prix. Basically, one of the astronauts got into a buggy and drove around, and the other astronaut filmed him. And so you can basically, and it kicks up dust as it travels. And so you can just try to figure out what do the conditions have to have been wherever this was being filmed. If it was on the moon, if it was in a studio somewhere, wherever it was being filmed, you can figure out what the conditions are that would make the dust travel in the trajectory that it did when you kicked it up. Because, like little buggies are going to kick up dust, right?
Right.
And what you'll find is that the dust moves in a perfect parabolic arc. And if you've ever thrown dust in a room with air, what'll happen is it'll go and then it'll just kind of settle.
Oh, wow.
Rather than like following a perfect parabolic arc, it'll just go and then fall because of the air resistance, right? It's basically like it's like throwing confetti, right? It's not going to go perfectly. It's not going to go in the same trajectory that you throw a ball. But if you look at the dust from this video, what you see is that, and this was, analyzed with like hard numbers, not just by looking at it, you see that it goes in a perfect trajectory. And that's only possible if there was no air there. So you'd have to find me like a several football field wide studio, like film studio with no air in it. That would be kind of tricky.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. It just kind of, it was like the compilation of the moon landing videos not being very convincing.
But
the
to be clear,
excuses
none of
they
those
would
are
give.
evidence of lies. Like just because they're not convincing to your 2026 brain doesn't mean that they're lies.
I mean, yeah, I guess it just I don't know. Even before the videos, like ever since I was a little kid, it just never made sense. And I understand, like, yeah, just because I don't get it doesn't mean that it's not happening. Just because I don't see gravity doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Well, I
you know,
mean,
I'm-
like, what do you think you're seeing when things are falling?
yeah, I mean, no, I'm not denying gravity, or I don't know what it is. What some people say it's buoyancy, gravity, like it's the same to me. I mean, I understand things fall. There's objects, there's mass. It just, like I said, what started leading me down this rabbit hole was just like I don't know. To me, it just didn't seem genuine. Like I said, the videos, the lies. Buzz Aldrin himself being interviewed multiple times, saying he didn't actually go to the moon.
Buzz
I feel
Aldrin
like
has
in
also
his
been
old
on
age,
interviews saying he did go to the moon. And to be clear, the videos that you've seen of Buzz Aldrin saying he didn't go to the moon, I think that there's typically two videos that are taken out of context. One video is of an interview with Buzz Aldrin and a little girl. Is that the one you're referring to?
yeah, that's one of
So
them.
in that interview, the little girl asks, "Why haven't we gone back to the moon?" And then Buzz Aldrin says, "Because we haven't." So does that mean that we didn't go back, that we didn't go to the moon at all? Or does it mean that we haven't gone back?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're. I see
The
what you're
question was
saying.
not, did we go
Have
to
we
the
ever
moon?
been to
And
it?
he said, we
Yeah.
haven't. It was, why haven't we gone back? Right?
Yeah,
So
that's
it's just not the case that he said that we haven't gone to the moon, period. Now, what he has said is he says we haven't gone back, and he doesn't understand why we haven't gone back, but there are videos of him describing his time on the moon. So if he thought that, like, if he was out and open about not going to the moon, why would he be on video talking about the time he spent on the moon?
Wait, that same video though you're referring to, I remember. So the astronaut next to him, they were asked about the stars, and
That wasn't the
first,
video with the little girl.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm not the one with the little girl, but there was one where all four of them are up on stage. They were asked about the stars. One of them said, "We didn't see any stars. I don't recall seeing any." But yet, that same astronaut, there's a video of him earlier saying, "Yeah, we actually used the stars to navigate to the moon."
Yeah,
it's like he's contradicting his own statement.
So that question, the question that they were asked about where he says, "Oh, I don't remember seeing any," that was asked about during an eclipse.
Oh, what? Okay. I'll have to go back and watch like the full video, because you're right. I fell victim to a lot of these like clickbait videos where it's obviously going to be contradicting. There's flat earthers are going to want to make their point. Earth people that believe in the globe model are going to want to make their point. So it's like there's so much misinformation out there. It's just hard to understand. That's why I mean I come into it with an open mind. I you know I talk to everybody about it and try to get everybody's opinion. You know, it's like there's no way I can prove one way or the other. But the last thing I just wanted to bring up, and then I can let somebody else come up. That again, I just don't understand it. Maybe you can explain it to me. Is for, I mean, hundreds of years, thousands of years. I mean, we have pyramids that are built to align with the stars, right? So if
No, they're not
we're
aligned.
rotating, you know, like the Georgia Guidestones that were blown up.
The Georgia Guidestone was built in 1987.
Okay, but I'm just saying that's just another example. So
Yeah, it's an example of what?
the pyramids, the Great Pyramids in Egypt, right? Don't they line up with Orion's belt?
No, they don't.
Or I don't know the constellation of stars, then, but
one sec, let me show you a picture.
Okay.
Just gotta pull it up. This one. This is the, oops. This is the alleged alignment between the pyramids and Orion's belt.
Okay.
Importantly, they're not aligned.
Yeah, the third one looks like it's off.
So you can always align two things just by stretching and rotating. But if there's three things, it's not always possible to align them. And so that's what you're seeing here. They basically forced two of them to be aligned, and then that fixes the position of the third one, and then it's obviously not aligned.
Okay, fair enough. So that was a bad example. Then let's say, like, you know, sailors, you know, they use stars to navigate the seas, right? Before GPS and all that.
Yep.
So if we're rotating,
by the way, that requires a globe, just to be clear. Stellar navigation requires a globe. Yeah.
So that's where I'm having a hard time understanding, is like if we're constantly rotating and moving, right? So we're never in the same place twice. The stars just also happen to be. I mean, there's videos of people pointing a camera directly. So
the stars do move, just very, very slowly.
A time lapse with Polaris always stays the same.
Well, again, Polaris also moves, just very, very slowly. It moves like, you know, you can go look up like an almanac data from 150 years ago, and they'll have the star measured at a particular place. And then if you go look at the almanac data today, it'll be in a slightly different place. It's similar, but it's a slightly different place. It does move. But the reason why it moves so slowly is because they're very, very far away. Like way further away than you could possibly fathom. I mean, consider this. When you are driving into a city, say, or you're driving along a city and you can see the city off in the distance as you're driving by. The buildings look like they're hardly moving at all, even if you're, you know, going at 70 miles an hour or whatever. But the trees on the side of the road look like they're zooming by. And the reason why is because the trees are way closer to you than the buildings are.
Perspective.
The further away something is, the more motion it requires in order to see its motion at all. And these things are not thousands of miles away, not millions of miles away. They are not billions of miles away. They are trillions of miles away. The closest stars are trillions of miles away. You've never seen it, like the only things that you've ever seen that are that far away are the stars. You've never seen anything even remotely close to that far away. So you might think, oh, you know, Earth is moving so fast, it's moving at 1,000 miles an hour, 100,000 miles an hour, whatever. That's nothing. That's peanuts compared to the distance to these stars. So you're just not going. You're not going to see any significant movement. Now, there are some stars that themselves are moving very, very quickly. So there's an interesting star called Barnard's star. I just want to show you something really quick about Barnard's star because it's interesting and not as many people know about this. Let me put this here. So what we have here is, sorry, I want to make sure I go to the right timestamp. It's 12.
Wait, can you spell it real quick? I'm just trying to write it down.
Yeah, it's Barnards. But you should be able to see the video behind me. So here we have a just a quick video. It's actually a pair of stars, but we didn't used to know that it was a pair of stars. So you can actually see the change in position of the stars over time. See how they're drifting against the background stars?
That time, how far is that time lapse?
I think each clip or each snapshot is 1 year.
Oh, okay.
And there's another. There's another bit. Oh no, yeah. This one's more zoomed in. So you can see them moving over time. It's just slow. but it's you know, Barnard star is the fastest star that we've, you know, that we can see.
It's considered one star, even though it's a pair.
Well, so with the naked eye, it looks like just a single star, which is why it was named Barnard star. But then when we got telescopes and zoomed in on it, it's actually 2.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time. You know, like I said, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I just had these were just 2 of the main questions that I always thought of.
Sure.
Were interesting, but I appreciate
Actually,
your
I'm
time.
sorry. I think that star that I showed you was not Barnard star, and I just want to correct the record and make sure that I get it right. It is 61 Cygni, not Barnard star. Barnard star is elsewhere in this video. This video talks about lots of stars moving, but this is 61 Cygni, not Barnard star.
Wait, so that pair, or the one that looks like a pair, was it? What was it called?
It's a different star. It's called it's a binary star system called 61 Cygni.
61 Cygni.
Yeah, it's this one. It's this star, or this pair of stars.
Yeah, because I'm gonna research all this stuff later. You know,
Yeah,
because it's interesting. I like getting everybody's opinion and actually like doing my own research afterwards.
Sure. All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go, but thank you for being here, Andre.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Take care.
You.
All right. Got to hydrate a little bit. Yeah. So 61 Cygni, it's also booking it. You just said our telescope can't see the flag on the moon, but we have one good enough to see stars moving trillions of miles away. That's contradicting. It's not contradicting. So if you work out the actual size of these, if you work out like the relative size to distance ratios, what you'll find is like stars are, and by the way, we're not actually able to resolve those stars, like the actual size of those stars. We're just seeing them as points of light and then they're zoomed in. So we can't actually resolve the size of the star, but the stars are really, really bright, so we can see them from very far away. But like we can resolve, for example, galaxies that are billions of light years away. But those galaxies are so big that it's actually easier to see a galaxy several billion light years away than it is to see the flag on the moon. Like you underestimate how far away the moon is, and you you also underestimate how big galaxies are. From Preston Thorpe with the $2, I'm working on a flat Earth choose your own adventure book. That would be funny. From Lucky with the $2, FLERFS sound like lonely adults craving community. That is often the reason. Yeah, that happens for a good reason a lot. From Ekipo with the €5, it's always pilots, all the pilots, every pilot in the world, millions of people. Sounds like Donald Trump. That's funny. From Kusaruri with the $2, where do these FLERFs get this BS from? From TikTok videos, mostly. From Sloshy Whale with the $5, some of these colors are Jarvis, just another variation in stupid. And using AI ops. Yeah, AI is the big problem for Flat Earth, unfortunately. From Matthew Williams with the 5 Canuck bucks, have you seen the clip of Flat Earth Dave describing the Flat Earth as a bucket of chicken with gravy and a lid to an African American man? No, but that sounds kind of like, it sounds like mildly or perhaps even majorly racist, so I hope that that's not what happened. From Big Joseph with the $5, I'm on a slow journey to become a professor one day. How did you develop your immense patience? I don't know if I could deal with grown-ass people this stupid. Oh, you get it by teaching people. And as a grad student, if you want to become a professor, you have to teach people. Like, you'll do that as a grad student. You will get that experience. Yeah, if that happened, that's really, that's like pretty fucked up. That's like pretty fucked up. Like, I don't know, like maybe they were like sharing a bucket of chicken or something, and so he was like making an analogy, but I can't imagine a scenario where like you just say that to somebody because he's black. Like that's kind of, that's sus. From Seabar with the $2, your lives are fire. Well, I appreciate that. From Tim Davidson with the $5, can confirm flat Earth. I landed here when I fell off the edge of flat Mars. Oh, were you here when the asteroid hit the one side of the flat Earth and it flung all of the dinosaurs off into space? From Atheist in a Foxhole with the $5, this embarrassment of a Marine sporting an Eagle globe and anchor. Oof. There is no actual, okay, so this seems really sus. I don't love that. In fact, I don't like it. All right, let's talk to Deport Trump to Israel. What a name. Deport Trump, how's it going?
Oh, good. Hello, Dr. Blitz. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Deport, what shape do you think the Earth is?
I think it's flat.
All right, why do you think it's flat?
Well,
Personally, the furthest I've ever flown is like around New York. So because I've never seen it be around, I think it's flat. And before you counterpoint that with Australia, I don't believe Australia exists either. I think it's funded by.
Wait, have you been to Israel?
No, but they don't.
How do you know Israel exists?
They don't. They're big ball propaganda.
Okay. Well, thanks for being here to port Trump to Israel. I mean, like, we got him. Clearly he was a troll, right? All right, let's talk to 717 Jock. Big ball propaganda is very funny. 717 Jock, how's it going? Oh, and he left. All right, we have a guest from Discord. Let's bring in Slot Talk. Slot Talk, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, Bob?
Not a whole lot. What shape do you think the Earth is?
I am convinced that it's definitely not what they've told us it is. I'm not sure that it's flat per se, but I do know that via long distance photography and weapons guidance systems used in the Navy, that there's no way they can do point to point sight, targeting over a long distance, like they say, if it is in fact the shape and the size they've told us it's been.
So can you give me an example of, like, documentation of, line of sight targeting from the Navy that's further than it should be? Because people make this claim a lot, and like, I'm willing to hear them out, but it's just like people never, they just say, oh, the Navy does it, but like, okay,
yeah,
give
and
me
I'm not
something
about
so I can check.
half facts either. Like I'm very disappointed in the people that do stand up for flat Earth because they don't know anything.
So then
when
how
it
do you know
comes
it's
to
true?
science. So there was a long time, I would say about 10 years ago, on I can't remember, Mark Sargent, I think is his name. He's kind of a goofball. He had I believe it was called the Sea Sparrow missile guidance system. He was a missile instructor. And I think it was actually for like SAM sites is what they used it for somewhat, but then they fitted it to a destroyer. And he's saying they were painting targets at 150 plus miles line of sight. And so, yeah,
So
I mean,
Mark
I don't
Sargent
have...
was not a publicly documented missile instructor?
No. One of his guests that he had on
I'm
one
sorry,
of
my
his radio
headphones
shows
just
a
died.
decade.
Hold on. I have to... I need new headphones.
Let's stray from
All right, we're
using
starting the
things we
headphone
can't
charity
do.
fund today. The headphone charity fund. One sec. All right, can I hear you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Actually, I just need to change my... Okay, I should be able to hear you now. Can you give me some words?
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
I can hear you great. Okay, so we're talking about Mark Sargent. Allegedly, Mark Sargent is... what's his background?
He's a nobody. I mean, he's from like Puget Sound, Seattle area, but he had a guest on that was a missile instructor.
Guest on. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't him. And
Okay.
I hate bringing stuff up without facts to back it up. So we can stray from that if you choose, because I don't want to.
I'm just a little skeptical, because it seems like this is like third-hand knowledge or a third-hand account.
Right.
So.
Gotcha. So what about long distance photography in general, like the Joshua Nowicki photo from 2015 from 63 miles to the east of
Nowicki. Let's pull
Chicago skyline.
Chicago skyline. What's the year?
I believe it was 2015. He took a 63 mile.
Okay.
63 miles to the distance, and he had the entire skyline of view.
A Chicago mirage from across Lake Michigan is. I'm just looking up Reddit, and that was the first thing that popped up.
Yeah, you're good.
A picture of the Chicago skyline taken almost 60 miles away is actually a mirage. Joshua Nowicki snapped the pic Tuesday night from Grand Mere State Park in Stevensville. Under normal conditions, even when extremely clear, this should not be visible due to the curvature of the Earth. The Chicago skyline is physically below the horizon form at that vantage point, but the image of the skyline can be seen above it. So, is that what you're referring to?
Yes, sir.
It calls it a mirage. What's the issue?
Well, they call it a superior mirage, which superior mirage, as far as I know, it should be an inverted image.
Is that true?
I don't know for sure, but I do know that we've taken pictures from Hawaii firsthand. Took pictures of Hawaii, and we could see the small island from the big island. We could see the people on the beach, which from I can't remember if it was 40 miles away. We should be able to see it. We got a Nikon Coolpix P900. Considered the flat Earth camera.
P900, yeah, it's the flat Earth camera of choice, yeah. So
Right,
what you're
right.
referring
And
to
it's
is a
'cause the
Fata Morgana, which is that's the upside down. That's the upside down image.
So what was it? What's a superior mirage then?
A
Because I
superior
believe that's
mirage is just any image that's raised.
Gotcha.
So like, here's an example of this is it's very, very low resolution, but I'll just show you an example of a cruise ship that's clearly undergoing a superior mirage, but it's not flipped, right? Like obviously it's not hovering, right? So this is a superior mirage is what we're seeing. But it's not inverted. So it just doesn't seem like it's unreasonable to say that we'd be able to see the Chicago city skyline if the conditions are right. And we can even go check an advanced Earth curve calculator if you want. And to see, is this possible? What kind of atmospheric conditions are necessary? So this is 63 miles, right? Oh, he left. I don't know where he went, but he left. Bummer. Okay. Well, just for everybody's, edification, let's go look. So he was in the dunes. He was in Grandmere State Park in Stevensville. I don't actually know what his elevation was, which would be useful to know, but let's find out, shall we? So we're currently looking here. It says that he was in Grandmere State Park. Google. Elevation. Okay, so these are the dunes. Let's say that he's 577 feet above the lake level. That's the relevant height here. So we'll plug that in, 577 feet. And then what are we looking for? We're looking for, the photo is this one. It's this photo here. And so you can see the top 2/3 or top third of Sears Tower or something like this. How tall is Sears Tower? I know it's called, what's it called? The Willis Tower or whatever. 1,450 feet. So let's punch that in. And we're doing this live. I haven't done this in advance, so who knows? Maybe I'll become a flat earther right now. But let me show you the advanced Earth curve calculator that I'm using. So here's the calculator. It's a very nice tool, by the way. If you haven't seen this before, it was made by Walter Bislin, who has a very thorough website. So even with zero refraction, this should be visible. You should be able to see the top half of Sears Tower. Now, if we punch in standard refraction, you should be able to see almost 1,000 feet of Sears Tower, the top 2/3 with standard refraction from a height of 577 feet at a distance of 63 miles. So I don't know why we would say that this is impossible. It was 200 feet? Okay. At 200 feet, you should be able to see that, like, with standard refraction, no funny business, nothing going on. You should be able to see the top 378 feet of Sears Tower. If the refraction is a little bit more severe, you can see the top half. So like, it's not so severe, right? Like this doesn't seem like it's impossible. Anyway, let us bring up our next guest. First, we have some super chats from Oniwin with the $20. $20 for some real headphones. Yeah, so I'm basically using hand-me-down AirPods, and they're fine, but they seem to have a low battery life, which is annoying. By the way, the Twitch name, if you don't know, it's just Blitz PhD. That's it. And from Nectu with the $2.22 towards the headphone charity fund. Yeah, I appreciate that. Just want to double check something. Quanta not, you're always trying to push your neutrinos. Those damn neutrinos. All right, let's bring up Sawblade Painter. Sawblade Painter, how's it going? Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm doing okay. Sawblade, what shape do you think the Earth is? Sawblade? When you're off the app, I can't hear you.
Oh, my bad. Okay, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
What shape do you think the Earth is?
Well, before I get into that concept of shape, first I wanted to kind of ask you some questions to try to establish some common ground that we might have.
Well, before we get that, I just need to know that you're not like just somebody who's cosplaying a flat earther. So I need to know like what your position is.
No, I'm
in
not
the
trying to
shape of the Earth.
cosplay. I'm not trying to cosplay a flat earther.
Do you think that the Earth is spherical?
that is something I'm not sure about. And then this is kind of
that wasn't my question. My question was, do you
yes,
think
no,
that the Earth
I
is
do
spherical?
not.
Okay.
I do
okay.
not think it's spherical.
Okay, great. Continue. Go ahead. You can ask whatever question you
Okay.
want.
So, you know how if we look into the cosmos, we can see gravitational lensing. A galaxy might appear as like a thin, say, semicircular wisp of light.
Yep.
But we know that that galaxy is not actually curved in this way. It's
Semicircular wisp of light. You mean like
if you look at a distant galaxy through, say, the Hubble or the James
sure.
Webb
You're
Space
talking about
Telescope.
like gravitational lensing effects. Sure. Okay.
Right. Very distant galaxy passing through, I don't know, but
Sure.
dark matter or something.
Sure.
So, but we know that galaxy is not actually curved like that. It's just a relativistic effect. Now, we also know that let's say a geostationary satellite above the Earth, which is in a rest frame, it's a certain height. You know, the height doesn't change. It's not moving relative to the surface of the Earth. It's essentially traveling in a straight line. Its orbit may appear to be curved, but it's actually not changing. It's not moving in a curved path.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So what's the question?
So could it not be the case that a similar effect of space-time curvature is what is making a flat Earth appear to be spherical from the outside?
No, there's topological limitations.
Okay, can you explain that?
So space-time curvature doesn't change the topology of things. It can change like how it can change things. It can distort things, but it can't change the topology of things. And the topology of a globe is different from the topology of a plane. Namely, a globe is connected, I guess. It's compact. I guess planes are connected too, but it's compact. It's going to have a different what's it called? Fundamental group, right? Like these are different things that cannot be modified by space-time curvature. They can appear distorted, but you can't go from flat to spherical. But look, if you think that gravity is real, then you're not a flat earther. So I'm gonna let you go. All right, from Third Eye Spy. Third Eye Spy, how's it going?
Good, man. Good.
Glad to hear it. Third Eye, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Yeah, I think the land is definitely more flat than curved.
Okay.
But I'll give you that the sky is more dome and curved, and that's where like all your physics and math is right. Versus most authors will just kind of do physics and math based on a flat plane for the land. But you know, you can.
So let's talk about the land then, right? So Well,
before that, I actually just want to
go
talk
ahead.
to you and pick about something with like main thing, the gravitational constant.
Yeah, what about it?
Like, did scientists like make observations about stuff falling and then come up with gravitational constant?
Which gravitation? Are you talking about big G or little g?
I'm talking about the one that follows inverse square law. The one that's
no gravitational constant obeys an inverse square law. It's a constant. Right.
Yeah, no. In the gravity equation where you got like the force is equal to GC times the two masses divided by their distance apart squared.
Yeah, so that's big G. Yeah. So big G was measured for the first time in 1787 or 1797. This was after people had been. Well, this was like 80 years after Newton. Sorry, it was like 80 years after Newton wrote down the inverse square law. So
that relationship that you see describe what you're seeing. Okay, so what is that number? I can't remember it.
It's like 6 point something in some units. It's like 6 times 10 to the minus 11 newtons meters squared per kilogram squared or something like this.
Yeah. So just help us understand how something of that magnitude, G to the times 10 to the negative 11th power. Tell us like how can that explain to me why that's that number, because to me that number is so small that it makes all the math work out in your favor as a glober.
How do you the question is, how do you measure it? You get some heavy lead spheres, you set up a torsion balance, and then you measure the angle of the torsion balance with extreme precision.
So, like, okay, let's just run it. I'm gonna run it by you. So your force of gravity equation is G sub C.
So there's no sub C. It's just G. But
GC. So you got the
there's
mass
no
of
C.
the Earth. So you got mass of the Earth times mass of the object.
Yep.
Divided by their distance apart.
Yep.
Squared.
Yep.
Times some constant number.
No, you don't multiply it by a constant number. It's the constant. Well, unless you didn't include the constant in the first place. The constant times the mass of it's G, the constant, times the product of their masses divided by the distance between their center of masses squared.
Squared. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, that's the formula for the force of gravity. Yep.
Force of gravity. So that's always going to equal what? 9.8?
Well, it just depends. No, the force of gravity is different on each thing. The acceleration due to gravity near the surface of the Earth is going to be the same for everything, or very, very similar anyway.
That's right. That's where I'm getting kind of
the acceleration and the so. Look, I hate to do this to you, but Third Eye Spy, did you take physics in high school?
Yes.
Okay, how'd you do?
In college. I took physics 2 in college.
How'd you do?
I think I got a B and a B. No, I think I got an A in physics 1 and a B in physics 2.
Okay. So.
And I did calculus 1 through 3.
So you understand that you could calculate G if you know the masses of the things and you know the distances between the things, right?
You can manipulate equations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. To figure
and
out.
So that's how we calculate G, practically speaking. That's the kind of experiment that's done.
Look, I'm just under the impression that G, this constant number that they came up with, 10 whatever times 10 to the negative 11, is so small.
It is small.
That it makes it just makes like all the numbers make sense for a globe Earth.
That's because the Earth is a globe. And because gravity is real, like this is a measured number. I'm sorry that you feel like it's awfully convenient, but this is a number that you can just measure.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. That it's awfully convenient for you guys. That's
just what the number is, and you can measure it. What's the issue?
So like I've heard that yes, gravity of what we're talking about works on a grand scale, like when you're describing relationship between planetary bodies.
Yep.
Right.
Also works on the globe. Works like on the ground here.
So for it to work in our everyday life and what we're observing, to me doesn't make any sense.
What's the issue? Which part doesn't make sense?
I mean, it's because of the inverse square law. Like it says on a graph that the closer two things get, the stronger the force would be.
Yep. Well, keep in mind it's the distance between the center of mass, right?
Yeah, the center of mass.
So what's the issue with that?
I mean, dude, isn't the radius kind of going to be about the same for everywhere on the globe?
Yeah, that's why the gravitational acceleration is about the same for everywhere on the globe.
About the same anywhere on the globe. Yeah, I get it, dude. But what I'm saying is like the way the behavior is described is like the closer it gets, the stronger the force.
Yeah, that's true.
The farther it gets, the weaker the force.
That's also true.
What I mean, but in our everyday life, you kind of see it being about the same force.
That's because we're all on the surface of the Earth, which is roughly the same distance from the center. Yeah. What's the issue?
Right. So why does it also have the same relationship between electrical forces?
It doesn't. Constant's different. The quantities are different. You're talking about charges rather than masses.
No, I'm talking about the relationship is described in the same way, inverse square.
Inverse square is just a property of forces in 3 dimensions, and we live in a 3-dimensional world. So your forces are going to be inverse square laws.
Inverse square law describes what I just said, how the farther it is.
Yes, I know. That's a property of the fact that we live in 3 dimensions. It's not special to gravity. It's not special to electromagnetism. It's because we live in 3 dimensions. 3 minus 1 is 2, and that's how you get the inverse square law.
3 minus what?
3 minus 1 is 2. That's how you get the inverse square law. That's where the square comes from, the inverse square law. It's because it's 3 minus 1. If we lived in a 4-dimensional world, they would be inverse cube laws.
We're on the same page. So, but what I was just trying to describe, and I'm trying to understand, is why is that relationship, mass attracting mass, the same as a negative force attracting a positive force?
Because they're both forces in a 3-dimensional world.
Matt, you're saying mass attracting mass is a force in the three-dimensional world?
We live in a three-dimensional world, and there's a force where mass attracts mass.
Yeah, help me understand what inherently a mass attracts another mass comes from.
It's a feature. It's a thing that mass does, in the same way that it's a thing that charges do. That like charges repel each other.
Yeah, well, you got neutrons, electrons. Sure, you got positive and negative.
Help me explain why positive charges attract negative charges. It's just a thing that they do.
Well, I mean, you learned in molecular structure how they arrange themselves to attract or repel.
Why do positive charges attract negative charges?
That's like nature.
Yeah, it's also nature that mass attracts mass.
I know, but like
it's the same kind of the explanation that we have is basically the same for both.
I mean, I just don't see scientists doing that. Repeatable experiment.
Oh, you don't? You want me to show you? I can show you. I can show you the repeatable experiment.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. Here's a millimeter-sized version of that experiment.
A millimeter size?
Yeah, so it's super tiny. This is an amazing achievement of precision measurement. So this is a paper that was written up in 5 years ago or something like this, describing the measurement of the gravitational coupling, that's the gravitational constant, between millimeter-sized masses. And this is their experimental setup is over here. Here's some of the data that they produced. Here's a cleaner version of their data once they've removed signal or removed noise. Here's the actual value that they ended up getting compared with other or with several runs. So they did the experiment multiple times, and you can compare the data that they collected. And then here's all of the stuff that they accounted for when doing this experiment. So for example, they accounted for this is sorry, where is it? Not data evaluation. It's whatever this section is. So they accounted for air currents by doing the experiment in a vacuum. They accounted for vibration, like trucks driving by could ruin the experiment, so they isolated the whole thing on air springs. They accounted for the electrostatic attraction by measuring the charge on the spheres and accounting for the forces that they would have experienced from that charge and subtracting it off from their answers. They accounted for seismic noise, literally like earthquakes could ruin this. They accounted for any sort of jiggling somewhere else, causing a jiggling here, or some sort of mechanical coupling between things in their instruments. They accounted for magnetism. They accounted for the Casimir force of all things, which is hilarious. So they accounted for basically every single possible source of error that you could come to. They subtracted off those sources of systematic error, and they still measured a gravitational attraction that basically is in exact agreement with the accepted value of the Newton's constant of big G.
The mass is going to attract another mass.
Yep.
Based on their relationship of the distance between them.
At exactly the rate that you would expect given Newton's formula. Yeah.
Sheesh, well, that's hard to argue then.
I mean, by the way, you can set up an experiment like that yourself if you're careful.
A basketball and a tennis ball, put them next to each other. Yeah, they're definitely going to pull each other closer to each other.
Here's a guy who ran a similar experiment. He's an amateur.
They're just going to...
because strawman and gravity is a great way to demonstrate your knowledge of the source material.
Well, I mean, yeah, dude. I mean, come on, you're pulling up some.
So here's a video of a guy who did this himself. He's an amateur, but he did a high precision measurement. Let me just see if I can skip through to find the actual apparatus. Here it is. So here's his actual apparatus. You have the heavy ball here, and then you have the light ball there, and then you have a light ball, and there's a heavy ball on the other side. And he's going to move the heavy balls closer, and then he's going to measure the twisting of the balance that the two lighter balls are hung on. And you can actually see that here. So here's the... Sorry, let me make sure that I get to the right place. So first he's measuring the oscillation period. That's fine. Sorry, let me just skip forward to the relevant place. Is it here? There's a place where he does the measurement where the masses are far. Yeah, here we go. So here's where the masses are far. That's where that's the deflection of one part of the laser, because he's using a laser to measure its twisting. It's the amount it's twisted. And then, so see how the masses are far away? Now he's moving the masses closer, and we're going to see that the laser starts to move, which indicates that the thing is twisting. And now it's centered around a different place, and you can use that to determine the strength of the gravitational pull. So you can do this yourself, you can measure this yourself, and you get fairly good numbers. In fact, the values that he gets are here, which is, you know, less than 1% error from the accepted value.
Bravo.
So, you know, this is not being hidden in the ivory towers of academia. This is just something that you can do yourself.
Great chat.
Okay. Thanks for being here.
Yep. Later.
I guess he had nothing to say to that, huh? Which is a bummer. All right, we have some super chats. One from Polum with the 10 Canuck bucks. When FLERFs use sun rays and clouds as proof of a small local sun, remind them that half of the Earth can see the sun at all times. Therefore, half of the Earth should see that cloud at the same time. Big clouds. Yeah, those clouds have to be enormous, don't they? From Binary Ghost with the $5, just scrolled in and was just hearing about jiggling. Finally, the physicists talk about the physics that matter, jiggle physics. All right, go back to Ivy Doll. And from Pensive with the $20 research funds. Thanks for being awesome. Well, thank you, Pensive. Much appreciated. All right, we have another guest that we can bring up. We can bring up Asher. Asher, how's it going? Asher? 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 Okay, Asher left. Okay. Yeah, Ivy Doll's a mutual of mine. She does good science content. She also does other kind of content, but, you know, I'm not going to hate on her for doing other content. She can do what she wants. All right, let's bring up Matek, who is on Discord. Matek, how's it going?
Doing vibing. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Matek, what shape do you think the Earth is?
We'll say that one more. Any and everything at the same time. We can't put a label upon it.
Sorry, one more time?
Oh, we can't put a label upon the shape.
You can't put a label upon the shape. Why?
Oh, due to the fact of the restriction of language. Language is so powerful, it's a constraint all. So we put a label or feature or property or an image upon the subject, the Earth. Well, is it really that?
Yeah. Thanks for being here, Matek. Okay. He just wanted to Philbro it out, I guess, which is fine. Like, you can Philbro if you want, but not here, not today. Sorry for the stretch, y'all. Gotta drink more water. Oh no. Oh no, my water. It is running out. Somebody says, do I have merch? No, not yet, but I'm working on it. There's a company that I'd really like to work with to get merch settled, but I'm waiting to hear back from them. So we'll see if that works out. Otherwise, we'll do it ourselves. Caller said. All right, so it is 11:35. Currently, the guest box is the only person who has the only person who's in the guest box is Muhammad, and I feel like that we probably shouldn't bring him back because, you know, he's a known Nazi at this point. But, you know, just for fun. Oh no! Oops, my finger slipped. Oh, okay. Well, good thing that he joined back because my finger slipped. No, my finger slipped again. All right, I'm gonna take my hands off so that then my fingers don't slip again. See, my hands are off the keyboard.
Would you debate Eric?
Oh no, he just disconnected all on his own. What are the odds? Shucks, I hate when that happened. Isn't that the worst? But no, I'll answer his question. No, I'm not going to debate a Nazi. Why would I debate a Nazi? I gotta use gloves. Okay, I got it. Yeah, I mean, it just seems very, very silly. Why would I ever want to do that? Yeah, that was Mohammed. But I just accidentally, like, he just accidentally got booted because my finger slipped. And, you know, that happens sometimes. That does happen sometimes. Yeah, okay. My finger, I promise, he was in the guest box. I promise my finger won't slip this time. All
not
right.
in World War II. Not in World War II.
I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to make your point, okay?
Would you debate him not?
Oh. I guess I wasn't gonna do that. From Variant with the $2, it's so sad when bad things happen to Nazis, frowny face. I know, it's so sad. It's such a shame. Isn't that the saddest? And from Binary Ghost with the $5. Hey, so I've been hoping for an answer to a question posted in another stream you were in. The question was, how does it feel to lose? Oh, good point. You know what? It feels good. It feels great. It feels good. It feels good to lose. Eric Bidet. It's so funny. Truly a tragedy. Oh, what a world we live in. What a world we live in. Deathless was very funny. So, guest box is currently filled only with people that I've already spoken with, so we will, otherwise our guest box is empty. So, make sure, if you think that the Earth is flat and you want to have a normal conversation and you're not a Nazi, make sure that you hop in the guest box and we can have a conversation. Let's talk to... Is that the Shark? The one, the only Shark?
How are you doing, my brother in humanity?
I'm doing all right, but Shark, you're not a flat earther, are you?
Hang on. How much of the Earth is not carbonated? Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure all of it has carbon dioxide in it.
But carbonated? Would you say that the ocean is carbonated?
Can you define carbonated?
Carbonation is the thing that my soda pop does when I open it.
Okay, that seems like an extensive definition, not an intensive definition. Try again.
I don't even know what intensive means, besides the fact that it sounds intense.
I'm just messing with. So, and this is interesting just so everybody can learn. An intensive definition is when you give a definition of something that tells you about the intrinsic characteristics of that thing so that you can go out and you can look in the world and figure out what it is. Extensive definitions are examples.
Carbonated, bubble. How'd I do?
You know, yeah, there you go. The ocean indeed has bubbles, so I would say all of it.
You would say the ocean is indeed carbonated then?
I would, yeah.
Wow, we got him, right? Did I get him?
We got him.
Oh, wait, no, you wouldn't. No, because now it is carbonated, so flat Earth would still be dead.
The ocean's carbonated.
I lost.
You lost. How does it feel to lose, Shark? All right, don't blast people's ears. Oh, we have good times. Classic blunder. From Chasers are for wimps. It's a weird, but okay. Thank you for the $5. Debating a Nazi is like swimming with an avowed pool shitter. That's so true, though. Like, why would you ever... It's so true. Why would you swim with somebody who's like, yeah, I'm gonna shit in the pool when we go swimming? Like, why would you ever do that? It's perfect. All right, y'all. I am currently dehydrated, I think, probably, because I have been out of water for a good while. And if I were to check, I would imagine, no, Grimlock hasn't been watching. Grimlock, the daily and regular requester for hydration, would typically want me to stay hydrated. So let's see if we can bring up one more guest, and then otherwise we'll probably just call it a day. Deza? How do I pronounce your name? Deza, you have to unmute.
Give me just a second. I'm sorry. I'm switching to my computer. I'm scrolling down right now. Oh, okay. I don't know if it's going to actually let me switch to the call.
You can just go back to the guest waiting room and I'll bring you up on your computer.
Okay.
There he is. Welcome back.
Hello, hello. Okay,
oh my god, your audio is so much better. Deza,
Yes.
what shape do you think the Earth is?
It's definitely round. I just have a question.
Why'd you come up? Okay, yeah, sure, fine.
First of all, I highly appreciate it. It's so enjoyable.
Okay, what's the question?
Okay, so when it comes to people that think the Earth is flat, like, do you think it's a limitation in like education, or do you think it's people that want to understand something that they themselves like actually can't? Like, people just wish to have the understanding, so they settle with something that they can wrap their head around easier, or do you think it is just an issue with the education system? Like, this is a debate that I have.
I think it's both. I mean, like, look, there are well-educated people who still believe very, very silly things because the way that, you know, for whatever reason, the way that they're wired leads them to believe those things. I think that probably a good education probably would filter out a lot of the flat earthers, but not all of them.
Okay, so, and then, you know, it's like kind of, I wouldn't say it's, I guess maybe it is human instinct, like taking the path of least resistance is like something we tend to do just because it's easy, it's less stressful and stuff like that. Do you think a lot of it is just choosing to settle with the easier option rather than put in the work to understand it?
Oh,
like, that's
absolutely.
kind of
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's also a degree of, you know, the like feeling like you're an insider, which feels really good. Humans love that.
Yeah.
There's also a degree of, you know, I mean, like the algorithms definitely like push. Like if all you see on your algorithm is one kind of thing, then you're more likely to believe that thing, regardless of what else you have going on with your life. And so people can fall down rabbit holes very easily accidentally. So I think that that's also probably causes an effect
So
in
do you
that
think,
regard.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you like encourage people to look into, you know, at least some scientific evidence or anything, do you think it'd be better if you encourage people to like, I mean, you just gave that guy like a video. Is there any good like creators that you know of? I mean, obviously we have a lot of like fantastic YouTube creators and everything. Like Brian Cox is like my favorite person ever on the freaking planet. Like who would you send people to that's quick and easy to understand, that can get people's algorithm to kind of give them a more diverse take, you know, on these scientific subjects, or
I mean,
this subject?
So what I would recommend, the thing is there's not a lot of people. Okay, there, as far as I know, there's like no big creators. There's like maybe one. There's very, very few big creators that all of their content is flat earth debunking stuff. At least on TikTok. I don't know about on YouTube because I don't spend a lot of time on YouTube. Oh, you know what? Well, yeah. So on TikTok, because that's where the algorithm gets you, right? Like you're not like the algorithm is not as strong on YouTube. You have to like go searching for stuff.
Yeah, I'm like a YouTube connoisseur. I don't even have TikTok installed. I guess I don't really know that environment very well.
Yeah, I mean, like the thing is the YouTube algorithm is, it's just less pushy. Even the shorts feed, you're gonna see more stuff that you follow than just like random like algorithmic stuff. It's honestly, I blame the TikTok algorithm and to a certain extent like Instagram as well. And there's just not a lot of big creators who just like do solely short form flat earth debunking. So you know,
it makes me have a political question, but I don't want to bring that up because this is a different debate.
Yeah, right. So I mean, there are some people on YouTube. Professor Dave is one. He does some flat earth debunking. Simon Dan does some flat earth debunking. MC Toon is probably the king of flat earth debunkers on YouTube. Well, I don't know if he's the king, but he's one of the best. But these are all people on YouTube. So if you're looking for like a shorts feed kind of thing or like a TikTok feed, then you're gonna have a harder time finding it, just because it turns out debunking stuff rarely does nearly as well as the actual content itself, especially short form.
Yeah.
So that is the reality we live in.
Can I get one more quick question?
All right, sure.
Just because like I consume content like on the daily, like it's like my background noise. I'm one of those people that has to, you know, if I'm playing a video game or doing homework, I have music and a podcast
I do
at the same time. So what are some of your like favorite content creators that I can find on YouTube that cover like science like this, that go in deep, that have like a similar explanation style to the way that you do? I mean, you talk in like a similar way that I do, where it's just quick and direct, where you just want to get it out of the way. So and you got anybody like that I can watch?
In my view, so if you're looking for like physics content, or like astronomy, astrophysics, that kind of stuff, the best you'll find,
astrophysics is my favorite.
The best you'll find is PBS Spacetime. It's the best. It's
already subscribed.
Yep.
Use my guy.
Like that it just is the best you'll find. Angela Collier, also really good, but kind of a different style. Sean Carroll, also really good, has a podcast. But he interviews a large, I mean, he's a physicist himself, but he interviews a large range of people, and he talks about a lot of things besides just, you know, physics, science, etc. So Dr. Becky, that's a good recommendation as well. She's an astrophysicist. She posts a lot and she goes over a lot of stuff if you haven't seen her stuff. Dr. Becky Smethurst. Would recommend all of these people.
I just subscribed to all three of them.
Good. All right, I'm gonna let you go, but have fun with that subscription list. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to anybody else that tunes in, man.
Sounds good. Take care. All right. So we have some super chats to read, some things to go over, some administrative stuff. One from Lost in FRP with 110 Turkish lira. I can understand the sun illumination model of the flat Earth. Can you illuminate us? Is it like a spotlight or something? They can't understand it either. They just call it a light, and then they just basically say it's magic. They don't know why why the shape of the light is the shape that it is on the ground. They don't know why any of this stuff happens. They just say it does. So no, I can't illuminate you there. Somebody says PBS's leftist agenda drivel. That's silly. Dare I say it? That's stupid. That is a dumb thing to say. Anyway, so if you guys don't know, there's a Discord server. This link will get you there, but you can also find it by just going to discord.gg/drblitz. There's also now a Twitch live stream. I will be live streaming from Twitch going forward. We are actually currently live streaming from Twitch. We only have... So if you use Twitch, let me just pull it up really quick. If you use Twitch, or if you like Twitch, which I don't know why you would, but if you do, we currently only have 156 followers. So if you want to use Twitch, you can go follow there. We're not monetized yet there, so I'll get that sorted eventually. But that's a cool place to go. Finally, I have a website. It's just blitz.phd. It's a very, very simple URL. Blitz.phd. Not blitzphd.com, not blitz.phd.com. It's just blitz.phd. So go there, check it out. You can see my research. You can see the science communication that I do. And if you want to support me, all the way at the bottom on that webpage, you can see the various links of how you can support me. So until then, until what? Tomorrow we'll be doing a Q&A combined with a Kerbal Space Program, some Kerbal Space Program gameplay. Make sure to tune in tomorrow at around 9 a.m. California time, because at that time we are going to be trying to save Kerbin from an incoming asteroid. So tune in for the final part. It's not the final part, but tune in for the conclusion to the cliffhanger that we left off last time, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's double check, make sure that there's nobody to raid. Otherwise, I will just send you on your way. Nobody to raid at the Mo that I can see that's live. So I'm going to let you guys go, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care.